Chapter 1132. Chapter 1130. New product launch, but Gooden's generosity and passion left a good impression on Yuan Yuan. Every girl, when they were young, would fantasize about their future partner. A tall prince on a white horse with a good character and a sense of justice. Yuan Yuan didn't know what other people thought, but that was what she thought. But a few days ago, Yuan Yuan's life was filled with darkness. Her dream was shattered, and she could only follow Fighter Lee for the rest of her life. Yuan Yuan didn't think of herself as a beauty, but she was still a conservative girl. Deep in her bones, she wanted to be loyal to one man. So she thought that following Fighter Lee for the rest of her life was enough. But the situation changed. Gooden was like a god descending from the heavens, coming to her side. It was as if he was sent by the heavens, solving all her problems for her. Such a powerful, arrogant Fighter Lee was killed by him with one punch. If Yuan Yuan had to choose, she'd naturally fall for a good man like Gooden. He was passionate and full of justice, and he wasn't greedy either. He gave her a sense of security. Unknowingly, Yuan Yuan had a good impression of Gooden. The story of the hero saving the beauty was old, but it was a story that never changed. Gooden and Yuan Yuan were in this situation. The Xiao family was getting more and more powerful these days, and all the businessmen and rich people were lining up to work with the Xiao family. The Xiao family's position was set in stone, and it was only a matter of time before they became a noble house on the same level as House Yu. The Xiao family's two brothers couldn't stop smiling. It could be said that after old Zhao's death, the two Xiao family brothers were this happy. They didn't have to worry about the Xiao family's future anymore. Although the Xiao family was working for the Hidden House Pie, it didn't matter. Wasn't House Yu also working for the Hidden House Yu? They were both Yu, and they were from the same lineage, but everyone knew what was going on. Second brother, our Xiao family didn't even invest a single cent, and we already have 3 businesses. We're just borrowing our connections and name. It's really worth it. Xiao Ji really liked this kind of investment method, where he could get something for nothing. Hee. Yeah, our Xiao family really got a blessing in disguise. Speaking of which, this matter was caused by sister-in-law, so you should stop scolding her. If it weren't for her, how could our Xiao family be where it is today? Xiao Ben remembered that his brother's attitude towards his sister-in-law was still very bad, and he even took her car keys. The two brothers had been busy with work these days and neglected Go Huli. Now that they calmed down, Xiao Ben realized that all this had something to do with Go Huli. Oh, if that was the case, it did make sense. I'll go see her. Xiao Ji nodded upon hearing Xiao Ben's words. He felt that his brother's words made sense, so he turned around and went upstairs. When the old man passed away, Xiao Ben thought about fighting for the position of the head of Xiao family, but now, although his brother was the head of the house, he couldn't make any decisions. Even things like persuading his sister-in-law had to be decided by Xiao Ben. This made Xiao Ben feel that he was no different from the head of the house. Xiao family's big and small matters were all decided by him. His brother was just a name, so he didn't want to fight for the head of the house. It was good this way. Xiao Ji went upstairs and pushed open Go Huli's door. These 2 days, Xiao Ji didn't sleep on the same bed with Go Huli and forced her to stay in the guest room alone. He didn't give her any face either. Go Huli knew that an important person came to Xiao family, but Xiao Ji didn't tell her the details, so she didn't dare to ask. She stayed in her room and watched TV, not daring to go out. Seeing Xiao Ji push open the door, Go Huli was overjoyed and quickly stood up. "Ji bro, you're here? Huli? I've neglected you these past few days. Are you mad?" Xiao Ji smiled as he looked at Go Huli. The more he looked at her, the more he liked her. Go Huli was old and not as young as she used to be, but Xiao Ji was more and more interested. "I wouldn't dare." Go Huli jumped and said in fear, "I'm a person at fault, Ji bro. I'm happy that you're not blaming me. How could I be mad?" Haha, what did you do wrong? You did the right thing. Xiao Ji waved his hand and laughed. You did a series of things, and now it seems like it was really good. If you didn't knock into Uncle Pai, the hidden house Pai wouldn't have sent a master here, and they wouldn't have been able to cooperate with Xiao family. Xiao family's status is higher than a rocket. Ah, Go Huli paused, thinking that Xiao Ji was being sarcastic, but his expression didn't seem like it. She said carefully, "Is that so? God is blessing Xiao family, giving us a blessing in disguise." "Yes, that's right. Well said. God is blessing Xiao family." Xiao Ji laughed. "But now that Xiao family is strong, you don't need to keep a low profile anymore. You need to keep a high profile. That's the only way to show how strong Xiao family is. You need to be arrogant." "I know." Go Huli was overjoyed. Arrogance and acting cool were her favorites, and she was overjoyed when she heard that Xiao Ji really wanted her to go out and act cool. In the blink of an eye, it was the 1st of May. Today was the day of the press conference of Shuamin's medical company. During this period of time, the reputation of the Guan Shuamin Medical Company could be said to be like the sun in the sky, especially after the poisoning incident of the first high school students was solved. People from all walks of life were waiting for the Guan Shuamin Medical Company to launch an amazing product. They had high expectations for the Guan Shuamin Medical Company. Lin Yi wasn't attending as a staff member, nor was he attending as a guest. He was keeping a low profile, just like the people who were there to watch the show. Since the conference was held in the open air, Fatty Lai didn't stop the normal people from watching, but he hired professional security to maintain order. Lin Yi, Tang Yun, and Xiao Xiao attended the press conference together. Shu wanted to join in the fun too, but the mist dragged her to the supermarket to buy the things they needed for the trip. Shu wasn't too happy, but considering Xiao Xiao's condition, she had no choice but to tolerate it for now. Chapter 1133. Chapter 1131. Trouble again. Sure, Xiao Xiao's idea wasn't bad. Lin Yi didn't think that with a big customer like Feng Tianlong, the company's sales would go up another level. One had to know that secret agents were the biggest customers of these injury medicines, and the demand for them was terrifying. Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine was different from Dr. Kang's golden creation medicine. Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine's formula was normal, and it wasn't limited by the raw materials. The production could be expanded infinitely, and so they could have as much as they wanted. Lin Yi didn't have to worry about the demand. This type of medicine was different from the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. There was no need to do hunger marketing, and they could just sell it on a large scale. Kong Ming Ming stood in the crowd, coldly watching the bustling scene. He was a little jealous. There were so many reporters here, and many of them were uninvited. Kong Xiaoming didn't like the fact that so many people were paying attention to a newly established company. Humph, I'll show you guys later. Kong Ming Ming spat on the ground. His purpose for coming here was to disrupt the product launch of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. Although House Kong had started to control the supply channels for the rare materials, and they were willing to pay a high price to buy them back, House Kong felt that Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company should have some in stock, or else they wouldn't have held a product launch. What was the point of launching a product without a product? Has everything been arranged? Kong Ming Ming turned to Wang Shubin and asked, "Don't worry, Master Ming. Everything has been arranged. The patients have been found, and the reporters have been arranged." Wang Shubin nodded. "Okay, that's good. Good job." Kong Ming Ming nodded. He was thinking about how he could get the recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing from Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. Only then would House Kong soar. At 9 in the morning, Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company's product launch officially began. Guan Shuamin, Fatty Lai, and Kong Xiaobo walked up to the VIP stage and sat down. The crowd erupted into a round of applause. F*CK. Kong Xiaobo is really arrogant. He can actually become a vice president. I'm so angry. Kong Mingming cursed unhappily. In his opinion, this cousin of his was simply incompetent. To think that a trash picker like him would have such a day. Hee, he'll be busy in a moment. Wang Shubin laughed disapprovingly. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the product launch of Miracle Dr. Guan's Medical Company. I'm the vice president of Miracle Dr. Guan's Medical Company, Kong Xiaobo. Kong Xiaobo was the one speaking. This was arranged by Fatty Lai to train him. Fatty Lai was used to this kind of scene, and Guan Shuamin, as an authoritative figure in the medical world, had attended all kinds of events. The only one who hadn't experienced it was Kong Xiaobo. Although Kong Xiaobo was nervous, he knew that this was a test for him. So, he had prepared the script for the product launch many days ago. Kong Xiaobo began to introduce the product of this product launch, Miracle Dr. Guan's Injury Medicine. Although everyone had heard about the miraculous effects of this medicine and Dr. Kang's golden creation, when they saw the product launch today, everyone sighed in admiration at the cheap price of Miracle Dr. Guan's Medical Company's products. Dr. Kang's golden creation cost 299 yuan per bottle, while Miracle Dr. Guan's Injury Medicine only cost 199 yuan. There was a difference of 100 yuan between the two. To a normal person, this was not a small amount. How many 100 yuan did they earn in a month? So, as long as Miracle Dr. Guan's Injury Medicine was as good as Miracle Dr. Guan's, everyone would go into the arms of Miracle Dr. Guan's Injury Medicine. For daily consumables, customers didn't have high loyalty. They would use whoever was cheaper and better, unless they didn't lack money. 199? Selling at the cost? Kong Mingming was stunned. He didn't expect the price of Miracle Dr. Guan's Injury Medicine to be so low. Including the cost and distribution fees, there was almost nothing left to be earned. Was Miracle Dr. Guan's Medical Company trying to destroy the market with a low price? He had to tell his grandfather about this as soon as possible so that he could take countermeasures. So, Kong Mingming sent a message to his grandfather and told him the price of Miracle Dr. Guan's Injury Medicine. Looking at Kong Xiaobo introducing the effects and characteristics of the injury medicine, Lin Yi nodded slowly. After a period of experience, Kong Xiaobo had matured a lot. At least in terms of business, he was a lot stronger than before. Next, it was time to answer questions from the reporters. Most of the reporters here knew about Miracle Dr. Guan's Medical Company because of the poisoning incident in Songshan's first school. They had a good impression of this company, so their questions were all positive and not too tricky. However, there were always accidents. There was a reporter who came to the product launch with the attitude of looking for trouble. This person was Ken Lang. Previously, he was hired by Zhao Qibing to ruin Pengzhan Industries and Songshan's first school. In the end, this Miracle Dr. Guan's Medical Company interfered and ruined his plan. He had been holding a grudge against them for a long time. This time, he was trying to find a way to cause trouble. Coincidentally, a person named Wang Shubing found him and gave him 50,000 yuan to cooperate with him to cause trouble. The dire wolf was even more pleased to accept the offer. This product launch didn't require a reporter's ID, and anyone could enter the venue. It was convenient for Ken Lang, who was a miscellaneous force. When the others were almost done with their questions, Ken Lang raised his hand and asked, I heard that similar medicines are sold for 299 yuan in the market. Yours is only 199 yuan. Is there a problem? I heard that the cost is more than this. Kong Xiaobo answered a lot of positive questions before, so he let his guard down. When he suddenly heard Ken Lang's words, he suddenly became nervous again. Fortunately, he had rehearsed a similar situation before, so he didn't have any stage fright. He smiled slightly and answered, May I ask, how do you know that the cost is more than this? As far as I know, this is a trade secret. Only the core members of the medical company know about it. right? Although Kong Xiaobo didn't say it clearly, he had already hinted that Ken Lang was sent by the competitor to look for trouble. He believed that everyone present could understand. Originally, Ken Lang thought that Kong Xiaobo was young and inexperienced, so he was easy to bully. That was why he asked this question. He didn't expect this kid to be so tricky. It made it difficult for him to deal with him. The reporters present looked at Ken Lang with disdain. They wanted to see what he could say. Chapter 1134. The injured person. I'm here today to seek justice for the victims. Someone used your medicine, and not only did it not stop the bleeding as you said, it even caused the wound to fester. I've brought him here today, and the purpose is to expose a black-hearted businessman like you in front of everyone. The dire wolf accepted Wang Shubin's money, so naturally he would follow Wang Shubin's orders. Everyone, look at my hand. After using Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine, it's completely festered. I almost had my arm amputated. A dark and thin man standing next to crippled wolf suddenly shouted at the top of his lungs. He stretched out his hand wrapped in gauze and shook it as he shouted at the people present. Wow, it's that serious? The other people who were hired by the dire wolf to pretend to be ordinary people also sighed. It seems like this company is really unreliable. Everyone, don't buy it. This kind of thing that hasn't been tested by the market won't work. It's better to buy the more expensive Dr. Kang's golden creation medicine. Yes, this company is really a scam. Another person also said in agreement, medicine isn't like other things. You can't just use it like that. Another person added. The more people said, the more people who didn't know the truth were misled and started to doubt the products of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. Everyone quiet down. Kong Xiaobo wasn't in a hurry at this moment. He smiled and looked at the crowd, then looked at the victim who raised his hand and said with concern, "Patient, is your hand okay? If there's a problem, you should go to the hospital as soon as possible. Don't stay here. What if it gets infected?" "What do you mean? Are you chasing me away? Everyone look, he's feeling guilty." The person who raised his hand shouted, "I'm just worried about you." Kong Xiaobo waved his hand. Our Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company is holding a product launch today. The product will only be sold after today. It has never been sold in the market before. May I ask this patient, where did you buy your injury medicine? Could it be some other brand that you remembered wrongly? Quack. The patient froze and didn't know what to do. He was paid to mess around, and the lines were given to him by the dire wolf. How would he know that Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine hadn't started selling yet? Then, where did his injury medicine come from? Could it be that it was stolen from the company? He was not stupid. Naturally, he would not say that. If he said that, not only would he not be able to frame them, but he would also be arrested by them. They could totally say that you stole a test product, not a finished product. I think I remembered wrongly. The patient suddenly blushed and walked away dejectedly. Residual Wolf did not investigate this at all in advance. Today's matter was just his usual way of blackmailing people. How could he know that their medicine had not been on the market yet? It seems that this patient really remembered wrongly. Then, let's continue to answer the reporter's questions. Kong Xiaobo smiled and continued. At this time, the people present suddenly realized that this patient was a liar. He was probably not instructed by a competitor, or he was here to extort money. The dire wolf clenched his teeth. He was very angry. Fortunately, he had a second trump card. However, Kong Mingming was very angry. He stared at Wang Shubin and said, "You found this person? What the hell?" Not only did he not slander Miracle Dr. Guan, but he also brought trouble to himself. Let people think that there is a problem with our Dr. Kang's medicine. "I'm sorry, Master Ming. This person was found by the dire wolf. I didn't know." Wang Shubin carefully apologized. "This dire wolf is also an idiot. How did you find someone like him? Kong Mingming said unhappily, I had no choice. In Songshan, we don't have any connections, and we don't know any reporters. I had to spend a lot of effort to contact this direwolf online. Wang Shubin said with a bitter smile. Okay, have we arranged our own people? Kong Mingming waved his hand. Since this matter had nothing to do with Wang Shubin, Kong Ming didn't want to pursue it. Don't worry, Master Ming. There will be no problem this time. Wang Shubin nodded. I'm sorry. I was also deceived by that person. In our line of work, we like to fight for justice. I am a righteous person, so please forgive me. The dire wolf said with a laugh. It's okay. A news reporter should have the spirit of doubt. Kong Xiaobo didn't agree with the dire wolf's words, but on the surface, he was magnanimous. I accidentally cut my hand. At this moment, a long-haired, cultured man suddenly exclaimed, Get out of the way, I'm going to bandage it. As he said this, the man pushed the dire wolf and wanted to walk past him. There is so much blood. You really need to bandage it. The dire wolf was shocked, but he suddenly said, Oh, right. Isn't this the conference for Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine? Vice President Kong said that their medicine can stop bleeding immediately. Why don't you go and apply some? Okay. The man nodded gratefully and ran towards the rostrum. Vice President Kong, can you help me apply some injury medicine? Kong Xiaobo frowned. Things were obviously out of his expectation. This was something he didn't expect. Although this person's request was simple, it was strange for him to appear at this time. Especially since it was related to the direwolf, Kong Xiaobo couldn't be too careful. What's wrong? Vice President Kong is reluctant to apply it for me. Or are you not confident in your company's medicine? This is a good opportunity to advertise. If your medicine is really good, then wouldn't I be a living advertisement? The man saw Kong Xiaobo hesitating and said immediately, then I'll apply some for you. Fatty Lai spoke at this time. He took out a new bottle of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine and opened it. Although Fatty Lai was suspicious of this person's sudden appearance, he still applied the medicine because of his confidence in Lin Yi. Generally speaking, testing medicine on the spot was a marketing trick of the pharmaceutical company. But this person wasn't invited by Fatty Lai, so Fatty Lai was suspicious. Chapter 1135. Why were they in such a hurry to leave? Just when everyone was anticipating, a miracle didn't happen. The man's wound didn't stop bleeding. It was still bleeding profusely. What injury medicine? He's obviously a liar. It's useless. Look at my hand. It's still bleeding. It's not getting any better. The man excitedly raised his bleeding hand and shouted to the people present, Look, if the medicine they used at the press conference is so ineffective, then what effect can the retail version on the market have? Although most of the reporters had a good impression of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, the truth was right in front of them. The bleeding didn't stop, so they still took pictures of the scene. Fatty Lai was dumbfounded. Why wasn't it working? He had 100% trust in Lin Yi's medicine. Kong Xiaobo didn't know what to do. He had little experience, and now that there was an accident, he didn't know what to do. The long-haired man was still shouting, What bullsh*** T Miracle Dr. Guan? Is he a liar? It's not working at all? Look at my hand. It's still bleeding. Just when Kong Xiaobo didn't know what to do, Lin Yi's voice rang in Kong Xiaobo's ears. This person is a hemophiliac. That's why he's bleeding profusely. It has nothing to do with the injury medicine. In order to prevent any accidents, Kong Xiaobo, Fatty Lai, and Guan Shuamin all wore wireless earphones so that Lin Yi could give them suggestions at any time. Kong Xiaobo, Fatty Lai, and Guan Shuamin heard it too. Kong Xiaobo and Fatty Lai didn't know much about hemophilia, but Guan Shuamin was a doctor, so naturally he knew about the disease. His eyes lit up after hearing Lin Yi's words. He stood up and said to the long-haired man, "You're a hemophiliac. It's normal for your wound to bleed profusely. Normal medicine won't work on you." Even though he couldn't confirm that this person was a hemophiliac, he trusted Lin E. He knew how capable Lin E was. That was why he was so sure. Wow, the reporters were in an uproar. They didn't expect this long-haired young man to be a hemophiliac. What kind of person was Shuamin? Songshan's medical authority. If he said it was, then it must be. Some reporters didn't understand what hemophilia was, but it didn't matter. There were people around them who understood. They communicated with each other and understood that hemophiliacs' wounds would bleed nonstop. You're talking nonsense. How am I a hemophiliac? Aren't you framing me? What proof do you have? The long-haired young man didn't expect Guan Shuamin to be able to tell that he was a hemophiliac just by looking at him. He panicked, but he didn't have any evidence, so he tried to defend himself. "Speak, who sent you here? What is your motive for coming here?" Fatty Lai also treated Lin Yi's words like an imperial edict. If Lin Yi said this person was sick, then this person must be sick. Humph, the medicine doesn't work, so you start framing me. You think I'm a hemophiliac just because you say I'm a hemophiliac? I'd say you're an AIDS patient. The long-haired young man said angrily. Kong Ming Ming, Wang Shubing, and the dire wolf didn't expect Guan Shuamin to be able to tell that this long-haired young man was a hemophiliac. This was out of their expectations. This person was hired by them. Wang Shubing had already promised him that as long as he cooperated, they would give him 50,000 yuan as a reward. Hemophilia itself was expensive, and this person only hesitated for a moment before agreeing. He could get 50,000 yuan just by messing around, so why not? Is old man Guan really a miracle doctor? He can even tell that I'm a hemophiliac? This isn't going to be easy. Kong Ming Ming frowned. Don't worry. This person is mentally strong. So what if he can tell? Will Guan Shuamin drag him to do a blood test on the spot? Hemophilia is something that can't be diagnosed with just by looking at it. As long as he refuses to admit it, there won't be a problem. After today's press conference, who can find him? Wang Shubing comforted him. Yes, that makes sense. Kong Ming Ming nodded and felt a little more at ease. At this time, the dire wolf spoke again. Everyone in the industry, look at this, these black-hearted businessmen. We should unite and expose them. I've said it before, 199 yuan isn't even enough to cover the cost. As far as I know, the raw materials for this golden creation are very rare, and this price is definitely a loss. Now everyone can see it, right? They must be using shoddy goods to make a profit and leave. The dire wolf's words were very provocative, and his people in the crowd also stood up and echoed him, loudly criticizing the irresponsible behavior of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. Yeah, I'm going to fight you guys to the death as the victim today. If you don't give me an explanation, this isn't over. The long-haired man saw that everyone was supporting him, and he immediately became confident. You guys have to pay the price for framing me as sick. But at this time, Guan Shuamin showed his calm personality. He was an experienced expert, and naturally he wouldn't be afraid. He didn't argue and only looked at the long-haired man and said indifferently, "Whether you're sick or not, we'll know soon enough. I've already sent your photo to Director Chin of the Songshan First People's Hospital. If you've been treated in Songshan and there's a medical record, then I believe we'll be able to find out your identity very soon." The long-haired man was stunned, and his face turned a little ugly. Of course, he was a hemophiliac, and he knew this very well. Most importantly, he did receive treatment at the Songshan First People's Hospital. In other words, all the experts in the hematology department at the Songshan First People's Hospital knew him. As long as they took his photo to the experts to identify him, his identity would be revealed. The long-haired man suddenly retreated because his identity was about to be exposed, and he couldn't lie anymore. I still need to go to the hospital to stop the bleeding. I'm not going to waste time with you guys. You guys are all harming people. Don't believe me anymore." The long-haired man was ready to leave. Leaving in such a hurry, Fatty Lie saw that the long-haired man was about to leave, and naturally, he didn't want him to leave just like that. "Murder for money, my hand is bleeding nonstop, and this black-hearted company's medicine is not only useless, but they also won't let me go to the hospital. Everyone take a look. What kind of company is this?" The long-haired man shouted loudly. Chapter 1136, Chapter 1134. Can Lang most of the people there shook their heads after hearing Fatty Lie's words. Who would go to the hospital with a small cut on their hand. At most, they'd just put a plaster on it. They didn't believe the long-haired man's words anymore. There was definitely something wrong with this person. He swore that he'd fight to the death with the man, and now he was in a hurry to leave after being exposed. Why do you care? I've changed my mind. I'll let you go," the long-haired man said as he backed away, ready to leave. "Zhang Gongzi, your identity has been verified. You're a hemophiliac patient, and you're currently being treated by Dr. Su at the First People's Hospital. Do you have anything else to say?" Guan Shuamin said directly after receiving the information from Dean Qin. That's **T. I don't know anything about the First People's Hospital, and I don't know Dr. Su Xiuhong. Ha! Zhang Gongzi was trying to defend himself, but he stopped halfway through his sentence because he had accidentally let it slip. The guy said it was Dr. Su, but he even said the doctor's name. How do you know Dr. Su's name is Su Xiuhong? I thought you didn't know about the First People's Hospital? Fatty Lie pointed at Zhang Gongzi and shouted, I'm leaving." Zhang Gongzi knew that he'd been exposed, and he didn't dare stay any longer. Boom. The crowd burst into laughter. It was obvious that this Zhang Gongzi was a liar, and he was here to cause trouble on purpose. Once he was exposed, he ran. Many people were embarrassed. They had almost misunderstood Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company was such a good company. They had helped the society and saved so many poison students. Moreover, they did it for free. How could they doubt their reputation and skills? Liar! He's a liar! Everyone, take a picture and expose him. A reporter shouted, "That's right. Who called this person over? I think it's Ken Lang." Another reporter knew Ken Lang, and he pointed at him. "That's him, Ken Lang, that black-hearted bastard. Others might not know him, but I know that he's the scum of our industry." "Ken Lang? I seem to have heard of him before. He is a guy who specializes in taking bribes to write some defamatory reports." Another person who knew Crippled Wolf also jumped out and pointed at Crippled Wolf and scolded. Crippled Wolf immediately became the target of public criticism. He shrunk his head and did not dare to stay any longer. Together with Zhang Gongzi, he left the press conference dejectedly. "Our product is only selling for 199 yuan. Indeed, we might be envied and slandered by some of our peers, but it doesn't matter. Facts and time will prove that our product is the best." Kong Xiaobo finally let out a sigh of relief. This was the first product launch he was hosting. He naturally did not want to mess it up. And now, it seemed that they had successfully passed through. Crippled Wolf was very angry. He was very unwilling in his heart, but there was no other way. He mounted the motorcycle on the roadside and started the car. But just after he took 2 steps forward, there was a loud bang. The motorcycle tire burst, and Crippled Wolf flew out directly. He fell on the roadside, and his teeth fell out. He directly became a miserable wolf. Fuck, why'd the tire burst? Brutal Wolf was a little puzzled as he looked at the motorcycle that had fallen to the side of the road. It was already an unsightly sight. Ha ha! Bursts of laughter suddenly came from the crowd at the scene. Deadly Wolf deserved what he got today. "Wow, Lin E. Honey, your trick is pretty good." As expected, When he got on the motorcycle, the tire burst. Xiao Xiao excitedly clenched her fist. Ha! Linny smiled as well. Linny had noticed that this crippled wolf seemed to be suspicious. He didn't expect him to be such a cunning person. Linny thought about it. It seemed that crippled wolf was one of the reporters who came to the Songshan First Hospital when the students were poisoned. The first time Direwolf attacked, Xiao Xiao was so pissed that she wanted to mess with him. So Lin Yi cooperated and told her where Direwolf's bike was and how to make the bike's tires burst. And so Xiao Xiao did it, and crippled wolf's tire really burst. Although this was nothing compared to the crimes he committed, under the eyes of the public, Lin Yi couldn't do anything to him. He could only use some dirty tricks to harm him. Tang Yun looked at Xiao Xiao and Lin Yi. They were really compatible. They even messed with others together. However, Tang Yun wasn't jealous. She was really happy for Xiao Xiao. She could live in happiness in the last moments of her life. And Tang Yun was happy too. If she couldn't get along with Lin Yi, Tang Yun would be worried and sad. This press conference, other than the unexpected appearance of Crippled Wolf, went on smoothly. Kong Xiaobo continued to answer a few questions from the reporters, and the press conference ended smoothly. What kind of bullsh** tea did you find? What the hell did you do? Kong Ming saw that things were messed up, and he was furious. He started scolding Wang Shubing. The success or failure of this matter was related to his ability and position in the Kong house. He had just gotten Dr. Kang's approval, and he wanted to continue working hard. Who knew that things would go wrong today? Master Ming, I'm sorry. I didn't know things would turn out like this. That Xuemin really knows something. He was able to tell that Zhang Gongzi was a hemophiliac. We didn't expect this. Wang Shubing said bitterly, there was no problem with our plan. It was an accident. That's right. It was an accident. What does it have to do with us? Kong Ming thought about it and decided to report the truth to his grandpa. After all, it was an accident. Wang Shubin breathed a sigh of relief. Kong Xiaoming finally let it go. Kong Ming called his grandpa. Hello? Is this grandpa? I'm Xiaoming. Xiaoming, how's it going? Your plan is pretty good. I told your uncle and dad about it, and they all applauded it. Using a hemophiliac to mess things up, this is amazing. Miracle, Dr. Kang's laughter came from the other side of the phone. Normal external medicine doesn't even work on hemophiliacs, let alone his injury medicine. Even our golden creation medicine isn't working. Miracle, Dr. Kong laughed. Chapter 1137. Just thinking about it is embarrassing. What did you say? The hemophiliac had been seen through by Xuemin? How did he see through it? Dr. Kong was stunned and asked incredulously. People with hemophilia were usually diagnosed after a blood test in the hospital. How could they check it on the spot? This is what happened. Kong Ming didn't dare to hide it. He told his grandfather the details of the matter. After all, there were so many people watching. It would definitely spread. Are you saying that Guan Xuemin knew that Zhang Gongzi was a hemophiliac with just one look? Dr. Kong found it strange. Wasn't this too strange? Guan Xuemin's medical skills are that good? With just a glance, he could tell what illness someone was suffering from? Wasn't this similar to the legendary BNK? Yes, he saw it at a glance. Kong Ming said, many people here saw it. Forget it. It's not that we miscalculated. It's just that things are unpredictable. Come back first. We'll discuss how to deal a blow to Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. Dr. Kong wasn't too worried about it. Anyway, the Kong family's golden creation was mainly used for military supplies. The civilian market was only a small part of it. Most of the time, it was out of stock. Therefore, Dr. Kong wasn't too concerned about Guan Xuemin taking over the civilian market. Okay, Grandpa. Kong Ming was relieved. As long as Dr. Kong didn't blame him, everything would be fine. Lin Yi saw Kong Ming in the crowd and guessed that he was the one behind all this. However, framing one's opponent in business was a normal thing to do, as long as it didn't cross Lin Yi's bottom line. Lin Yi wouldn't do anything to him. He would only provide some help to Fatty Lai and Kong Xiaobo when necessary. The rest was up to them. Let's go. Lin Yi held Tang Yun with his left hand and Xiao Xiao with his right as they left the venue with the crowd. It's already afternoon. I wonder if Meng Yao and Shu have finished shopping? Tang Yun looked at her watch and asked. They agreed to go on a road trip together at night. It should be about time. Have you told your family? Lin Yi asked. Yeah. Tang Yin felt a little embarrassed as she thought about her mother's words. Any other girl's parent would have warned her daughter to be careful when she heard that she was spending the night with a boy, but her own mother. She was telling her not to forget to buy birth control pills. Tang Yin was going crazy just thinking about it. She was still a high schooler. It wasn't uncommon to have sex at this age, but Lin Yi was in a top high school, and Tang Yin was a conservative person. How could something like that happen so early? However, Tang Yun couldn't tell her mother about this. She could only nod obediently. Lin Yi saw that Tang Yun's expression wasn't normal and asked curiously, "What's wrong?" Ani doesn't agree. No, it's nothing. She's been thinking about moving to a new house these few days. She doesn't have time to care about me, Tang Yun said randomly. Oh, Lin Yi didn't ask after seeing that Tang Yun didn't want to talk about it. Today, Lin Yi drove Xiao Xiao's Land Rover. The car had been repaired, and this type of off-road vehicle was perfect for a road trip. As for the 2B945 license plate, it was found to be fake. They couldn't find the invoice for the car, but with Tianlong's help, the 4S shop made up a new one, putting Xiao Xiao's TT000 license plate on the Land Rover. Xiao Xiao, your body isn't suitable for this car. Tang Yun felt that the Land Rover was too big, and it didn't match Xiao Xiao's petite body. Ha! Yeah, Linny, honey, how about I give this car to you? I'll buy another one. Xiao Xiao felt the same way, too. Her body didn't really match the car. Yesterday at school, some hooligans were teasing me, calling me a Land Rover girl. I ran into them and scared the shit out of them. When I was out, they were still playing in the mud. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile, but Xiao Xiao was right. She used to be a hooligan girl, and it was only after getting together with him that she became a lot more obedient. Xiao Xiao's words surprised Tang Yun. She didn't expect Xiao Xiao to be this fierce. If it were her, she wouldn't dare do something like that. Lin Yi drove back to the villa with Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao. Yushu's Beetle was already parked in the yard. It seemed like they'd come back from the supermarket. Lin Yi had just parked the car when Meng Yao and Yushu came out of the villa. They must have heard the car and knew that Lin Yi was back. The two were dressed very youthful and sunny, a bit like beachwear, but not revealing. Lin Yi's eyes lit up. The Miss and Shu were natural beauties, no less than Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao. You guys ready? Lin Yi asked with a smile. Yeah, Yao, and I bought 2 carts of stuff, and we didn't finish the whole thing, so we went again, Yushu said excitedly. How much stuff did you guys buy? We're only going for 1 day, and 1 night. You don't need that much, do you? Lin Yi said, shocked. Hee, it's not easy to go out and play. Of course we have to prepare everything first. Yushu smiled. Shield bro, come help me move the stuff to your car. It's big. It should be able to fit everything. Lin Yi followed Yushu to move the stuff, and Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao wanted to help as well. But the Miss stopped them. Why don't you guys take a shower here and change your clothes first? We'll go in fresh clothes later. Tang Yun didn't have any good clothes, and while her family's situation had improved a lot, she didn't spend her money on luxurious clothes. She wore her school uniform every day, so there was no point in buying clothes. Today, she only wore a normal shirt and a pair of jeans for the product launch. Compared to Meng Yao, it was a lot more normal. I didn't bring a change of clothes. Tang Yun was a little tempted. It wasn't convenient to take a shower in the hospital. And while there was hot water, it wasn't her house, and her parents were there. Tang Yun was a little embarrassed. Chapter 1138. Tang Yun's inferiority complex. Tang Yun couldn't accept Meng Yao's change. She had always treated Meng Yao as her rival in love, and she was always on guard against her. Even if Meng Yao got closer to her recently, she still didn't let her guard down. Tang Yun was a kind person, and she was afraid that Meng Yao had ulterior motives for being nice to her. She was afraid that she wouldn't be able to resist when they fought for Lin Yi. But Tang Yun was afraid that she was overthinking it. What if Meng Yao didn't mean it that way, and she just wanted to be friends with her? Of course not. Tang Yun shook her head. How could she reject Meng Yao? When she said it like that, Lin Yi came to the beetle and saw that it was filled with all kinds of things. Some were in bags, and some were in boxes. There were a lot of things. What are these? Lin Yi pointed at a bag and asked curiously. Face masks, Yushu said. Huh? Face masks? Lin Yi's eyes widened. The internet said that the wind is strong at night, so in order to protect the skin we need to use face masks, Yushu said. Lin Yi was speechless, but he didn't say anything else. If Yushu said it was useful, then so be it. With the space of the rover, it was more than enough to store all these things. Lin Yi began to move the things out one by one and put them into the rover's trunk. Tang Yun looked at the bathroom, the luxurious marble floor, the exquisite white bathtub, and all kinds of unknown skincare products. Tang Yun couldn't help but sigh. She thought that her new house was good enough, but when she came to the villa, she realized that her house was just ordinary. But these bottles and cans of high-end products, only a rich young miss like Meng Yao could afford them. Tang Yun couldn't help but worry. Although she was invincible now, what about in the future? In another 10 or 20 years, his skin wouldn't be as good as Meng Yao's and Shu's. They'd been taking care of their skin for a long time, and he'd lost at the starting line. However, with Tang Yun's current family situation, they couldn't afford these things. Tang Yun sighed. This was the first time she felt the importance of money. Although she didn't have money before, she didn't have such a strong feeling. The bathtub was very clean, and it was obvious that only Meng Yao and Yushu had used it before. Tang Yun didn't mind since they were both clean people. It was good enough that they didn't mind her. She turned on the hot water and laid in the bathtub. She was going to university soon, and she couldn't just study like she did in high school. She had to become someone useful to Lin Yi. At the very least, she had to find a part-time job in his company. Not only could she earn some money, but she could also help Lin Yi take care of some things. Xiao Xiao had just showered in the morning. She lived alone, and it was very convenient for her to shower. She went back to the yard to help Lin Yi load the car after helping Tang Yun out. There were a lot of things, but with the four of them working together, it didn't take long to load everything onto the rover. There was a Ferrari parked not far from the villa, and Jiang Wen and Tai Zhao were sitting inside. This Lin Yi guy, he's really enjoying the life of two women. He's got four beauties by his side. Jiang Wen said sourly as he looked at the yard. Yushu's a troublemaker. It's fine if you don't want her, but if you marry her when bro, you'll be screwed over by her. Tai Zhao comforted. You're right, that girl's too ferocious. I can't handle her. Her life might be in danger if I bring her back. Jiang Wen nodded. Right. Did you buy the things you need? We'll try to impress Meng Yao when we get to the beach. I've already told Yang Ganglu to buy it. Don't worry, he's very smart, Tai Zhao said. Lin Yi naturally saw Jiang Wen's Ferrari by the roadside. He found it funny. Driving a sports car to the beach? Was he sick? Could the chassis of that car even drive to the beach? But Lin Yi wasn't that nice to remind them. Meng Yao, Yushu, and Xiao Xiao went back to the living room to wait for Tang Yun. Lin Yi followed them to watch TV in the living room. Not long after he sat down, his phone came in. It was Fatty Lai. Hello? Fatty Lai. Is the conference over? Lin Yi asked. Boss, it's over. Don't worry, Fatty Lai said. It's all thanks to you seeing through Zhang Gongzi's problem. Otherwise the conference would have been in trouble. Did you find out who sent them? Lin Yi knew who the mastermind was, but Lin Yi didn't want to waste too much time on the company. After this, Lin Yi planned to let Fatty Lai and Kong Xiaobo handle it. There's some clues. It's probably sent by our competitor, Dr. Kang's medical company. According to our employees, someone recognized Dr. Kang's grandson, Kong Ming, at the conference and met with Dire Wolf, Fatty Lai said. Then what do you want to do? Lin Yi asked back. Boss, our current strength isn't enough for us to take revenge on Miracle Dr. Kang's medical company, and we don't have the energy to do so. What I'm saying is that we should write this down and talk about it in the future. Fatty Lai said carefully. Okay, we'll do as you say. Lin Yi felt that Fatty Lai's idea was right. The company had just been established, and they didn't have the time to fight with competitors. If they had the time, they might as well spend it on marketing. Okay, Fatty Lai sighed in relief and smiled bitterly. Boss, there's one more thing. After the conference, the orders we received were much bigger than we expected. It's very different from what we expected. At first, we only planned to sell the goods in the province, and also in the neighboring provinces. But all the large pharmacies and hospitals in the country contacted us, preparing to place orders. I think it's the effect of the auction. Oh. Isn't that a good thing? Lin Yi didn't expect the injury medicine to be so popular. Lin Yi thought that the Songshan First School's poisoning incident would only affect the province, and the initial orders wouldn't be that big. It's a good thing, but first of all, our production is limited. The factory and equipment can only supply 2 to 3 provinces, and that's the initial supply. If the market responds well, the distributors will increase their orders, and our production will be severely lacking, Fatty Lai explained. Chapter 1139. Won't let you suffer. Secondly, our sales network is not good. My trading company only has corresponding trading companies in the province and neighboring provinces. My initial plan was to slowly expand outwards and steadily expand the scope of business and sales, but the current situation has exceeded our expectations. Then what should we do? Lin Yi asked. He didn't know much about business. He could deal with competitors, but sales was a far cry. First, we need to expand our production and find a way to get loans to repair our factories, Fatty Lai said. Second, we need to expand our sales channels and set up branches in major cities, but that requires a lot of capital and management problems. If we set up multiple branches at once, the management system won't be able to keep up, and we'll end up in chaos. Oh, can't we just send the goods directly from the headquarters without setting up branches? Lin Yi asked. Yes, but the consequences might be even more serious. Without a local branch to coordinate and supervise, there might be random price increases, random price reductions, hoarding, trading, etc. It'll have a huge impact on our company's reputation. Fatty Lai knew the consequences very well, so he was very worried. I say, Fatty Lai, you know I'm not good at business. Why are you asking me? Just tell me if you have any good suggestions. Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Are you trying to scare me? My suggestion is to work with a company with a complete sales channel, but this company must be reliable and trustworthy. Otherwise, if our sales channel is in their hands, they might take over and take over. That's not something we want to see, Fatty Lai said. All right, we'll do as you say. Lin Yi nodded. But, boss, I haven't thought about the company yet. The business world is like a battlefield. How can there be friends forever? Fatty Lai smiled bitterly. I can't think of a suitable one at the moment. That's why I called you to discuss it, boss. Let me see. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Lin Yi only knew a limited number of entrepreneurs. Other than Pengzhan, there weren't any other companies in Songshan that he was friendly with. All right, I'll think about the loan and funding first. Fatty Lie was just asking. If Lin E really didn't have a solution, he'd have to use the contract to control the sales company. However, this kind of mutual suspicion of cooperation was not a long-term solution. It could not achieve the greatest win-win situation. Not long after Lin E hung up, his phone rang again. Lin E thought it was Fatty Lai or Kong Xiaobo, so he picked up without thinking. Hello? Miracle Dr. Lin? I'm Lu Qianni. Lu Qianni's deep voice came from the other side of the phone. Oh, Mr. Lu? Hello. Lin E was curious why Lu Qianni would call him at this time. Lin E had a good impression of Lu Qianni, especially when he lent money to him without hesitation. This made Lin E feel that Lu Qianni was a good person, so he recognized him as a friend. Miracle Dr. Lin, I heard that your company will be releasing a new product today. Congratulations. Lu Qianni smiled. I've sent a small gift, a check, and a red envelope to your company. Oh, thank you so much. Lin E didn't expect Lu Qianni to send a gift. Lin E was a little surprised. But since Lu Qianni was showing his goodwill, Lin E didn't need to slap him in the face. He accepted it with a smile. Thank you. I wanted to come personally to congratulate you, but considering that it's a new product launch and not an opening ceremony, I didn't go, Lu Qianni said carefully. Lu Qianni, Lu Qianli, and the old man had discussed for a long time about whether or not House Lu should send someone to attend the launch. In the end, it was Lu Jinghan who suggested not to attend, but to give a red envelope. That got the old man's approval. After all, House Lu wanted to get on Lin Yi's good side and build a long-term friendship with Lin Yi. They were planning to give House Lu's business channels to Lin Yi for free. If they showed up at the auction, it would look like they were too proactive, as if they were planning something. That wouldn't be good. After all, Lin Yi hadn't agreed to House Lu's business channels yet. From the looks of it, Lin Yi was quite happy with House Lu's red envelope. Lu Qianni, on the other hand, let out a breath of relief. It's good that the thought is there. Lin Yi smiled. Oh, right, Mr. Lu, I have something to ask you. Please go ahead, Miracle Dr. Lin. What's there to ask? I'll tell you everything you want to know. Lu Qianni said quickly. It's like this. My medicine company wants to set up some branches and sales channels all over the country, but our main focus is on expanding the factory and increasing production. We don't have the time to set up sales channels. I want to find a reliable partner to be in charge of sales. Lin Yi told Lu Qianni about Fatty Lie's suggestion. Lu Qianni definitely had more contacts than Lin Yi. Oh, you want to find a partner to be in charge of sales channels? Lu Qianni was surprised and happy. House Lu had the same idea. They didn't know how to ask Lin Yi, but Lin Yi made this request first. How could Lu Qianni not be happy? Lu Qianni quickly said after the surprise, Miracle Dr. Lin, House Lu is a business family. If you don't mind, we can let you use our channels for free. And the management side can be managed by your side. We don't participate in the decision-making, only the operations. We won't take a single cent of the profits, but you'll have to take care of the staff's expenses. Ha! Mr. Lu, are you serious? Lu Qianni's words surprised Lin Yi. Lin Yi didn't expect Lu Qianni to recommend himself and give such a good deal. Not only did it dispel Fatty Lie's worries, House Lu didn't want a single cent of the profits. Of course, Lin Yi understood Lin Yi's intentions. House Lu probably saw his potential and wanted to use this opportunity to get on his good side. Of course, I'm serious. Lu Qianni smiled. Miracle Dr. Lin, when have I ever joked? I really want to do something for you. Lu Qianni, may be a small fry in your eyes, but Lu Qianni, truly see you as a friend and savior. Chapter 1140. Behind the scenes, Lu Qianni couldn't be any more excited. That was the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. One pill was worth 3 to 400 million. There was also the special edition injury medicine, and that was only the second of it. From what Linny said, he'd be giving him other pills as well. This was a great deal. These were all priceless items that other noble houses couldn't even get their hands on. But House Lu had it all. It was worth it. His niece's suggestion was great. Being a follower was amazing. No wonder Fatty Lai was so arrogant. There were so many benefits. Miracle, Dr. Lin, I won't decline then. You can use our Lu family's resources as you please. Lu Qianni took a deep breath and forced himself to be calm. He was really too happy. All right, then, you contact Fatty Lai and discuss the specifics. I'm just a boss who doesn't have to do anything. I don't know much about these things. Lin Yi smiled. As for Lu Qianni, Linny was still in the testing phase. He couldn't trust him as much as Fatty Lai, so he only gave him some benefits. If he really wanted to follow him wholeheartedly, then Lin Yi wouldn't mind giving him more benefits. Lu Qianni hung up and let out a long sigh of relief. It seemed that Lin Yi had a good impression of House Lu, and he was slowly accepting him. Jinghan had suggested that House Lu be under Lin Yi's wing and become Lin Yi's follower. Lu Qianni had agreed, but that was for the sake of the big picture. He couldn't accept it from a personal point of view. But now, Lu Qianni truly felt that this follower was a great person. He could get those supreme-grade pills right from the start. Wouldn't he be able to get even better things in the future? Big brother, why don't you take the opportunity to raise a few conditions? When Lu Qianni made the call, everyone from House Lu was listening. Tianli heard what Lu Qianni said as well. He didn't understand why Lu Qianni didn't increase the price when Lin Yi asked for a business partner. Why did he suggest it for free? Wasn't that stupid? If the Lu family was in a hurry to find Lin Yi to be the sales agent, then the Lu family would suffer a little loss. The problem now was that Lin Yi took the initiative to find a business partner. Then why would the Lu family suffer a loss? Conditions? What are your conditions? Seeing that his brother was so short-sighted, Lu Qianni decided to hide Lin Yi's report and asked, pretending to be ignorant, Big brother, if our Lu family had taken the initiative to ask Lin Yi to be the sales agent, then it wouldn't be a big deal for us to suffer a little loss. But the problem now is that Lin Yi took the initiative to look for us. Why would we take the loss and not ask for anything in return? Tianli frowned. Big brother, your brain really isn't suited for business. Ha ha. Xinhu started laughing as he looked at his granddaughter Lu Jinghan. Jing, tell me between your uncle and your father, who's right? Dad. Uncle really isn't suited for business. Jinghan's words made Tianli smile. His daughter was still on his side, but hearing the second half of her sentence, Tianli's face changed. But Dad, your brain is only suited for pure business. What do you mean? Tianli frowned. He didn't quite understand what his daughter meant, but he knew that it wasn't anything good. Jing is right. Tianli, you're only suited for pure business. Xinhu smiled. As far as you're concerned, from a business perspective, our Lu family has taken the loss this time. But from a long-term emotional investment, our Lu family has gained Lin Yi's approval. That Tianli hesitated. He couldn't deny that his father was right, but his vision was still limited to a normal businessman, not a successful entrepreneur. Plus, I'm guessing that Lin Yi must have given us some benefits. Am I right, Uncle? Jinghan's eyes turned to Lu Qianni. Ha! Jing is very smart. That's right, Lin Yi did give us some benefits. Lu Qianni smiled. He didn't expect his niece to hit the nail on the head. Big brother, Lin Yi gave us benefits? Then why didn't you say anything? Tianli paused. Big brother, what did Lin Yi promise us? Lin Yi promised us some pills every year in return, including the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing and the special edition injury medicine. Do you think House Lu got anything in return this time? Lu Qianni smiled. Pill of life extension and toxin cleansing? Just this one pill is enough for us to pay the price. And every year at that. This is so worth it. It's even better than the channel fees. Tianli smiled brightly upon hearing Lu Tianyi's words. The pill of life extension and toxin cleansing was a priceless item, and House Lu could get one every year. Wasn't that too awesome? If they couldn't use it themselves, they could sell it to a noble house they were on good terms with, and that would be their bargaining chip. Tianli nodded deeply at the thought. Big brother, you're the best. Lin Yi wouldn't have agreed to our benefits if we'd taken the chance to ask for something this time. Tianli, you're actually quite a talented person in the family business, but if we want to push House Lu to the top, we still have to rely on Jing Jing. It's just that Jing Jing will have to get married sooner or later. Lu Tianyi sighed. Boys and girls were the same for normal families, but for noble houses, they placed more emphasis on boys. After all, only boys could carry on the family line, and the noble house wouldn't change its surname. Girls, on the other hand, were different after they got married. Their children would have to follow a different surname. Unless they married into the family, I'm not getting married. I want to stay by Grandpa's side. Jinghan said, a little embarrassed. Girls have to get married eventually. How can they not get married? Tianli glared at his daughter. Although his daughter, not getting married, would maximize House Lu's benefits, watching his daughter grow old alone wasn't what a father wanted. Jinghan stuck out her tongue, revealing the weird side of a little girl. She was just a kid, after all. She was good at business and she was smart too, but she was still young. She liked things that normal girls liked. I think we should let Jing Jing be in charge of the collaboration with Lin Yi this time. Lu Tianyi was afraid that his brother's mind would go haywire again. And if he offended Lin Yi, it wouldn't be worth it. Chapter 1141. Chapter 1139. Sorry back, when Lu Jinghan helped Tianli manage the company, she was always behind the scenes. Everyone thought that it was because of Tianli, but not many people knew that it was because of Lu Jinghan. Of course, those noble houses knew about this. That's good. Tianli, be careful. Don't offend Lin Yi. Xinhu said, Jing Jing won't show up now, but she might be useful in the future. Lu Jinghan's face reddened slightly. Her grandpa's words told her that her thoughts were seen through. Indeed, she wanted to approach Lin Yi with another identity because she was curious about Lin Yi. She wanted to get to know him privately and see what kind of person he was. Lu Jinghan was very confused. How did this person survive until now? House Yu, House Xiao, and House Pai, all three hidden noble houses were offended, and yet Lin Yi was still alive and kicking. This was the first person of the opposite sex that Lu Jinghan was curious about. Lu Jinghan was a smart girl. Naturally, she wouldn't pay attention to normal people, but Lin Yi did pique her interest. Of course, this interest didn't mean that she liked Lin Yi. Jinghan was just curious about him. Tianli didn't understand what his father meant. He thought that his father wanted to use his daughter as a trump card, pushing her out at a critical moment. Lu Tianyi, on the other hand, was deep in thought as he looked at his niece. She was growing up to be one of the top beauties in the noble houses. Although Lu Tianyi thought of something, he didn't say anything in the end. There were some things that the old man would naturally plan. He didn't need to say anything. Sometimes the old man and Lu Jinghan understood things better than Lu Tianyi. Lin Yi hung up the call with Lu Tianyi. He was about to call Fatty Lai and tell him about this. But when he turned around, he saw Tang Yun walking down the stairs with only a towel wrapped around her. Yao Yao, where are my clothes? Tang Yun was upstairs, and after taking a shower, she realized that Meng Yao and Yushu weren't there. Meng Yao didn't prepare any clothes for her to change into, and she couldn't just go through their wardrobes. She thought that Lin Yi was moving things outside, and there were only girls in the villa, so a towel wouldn't matter, but she didn't expect Lin Yi to be here as well. Tang Yun was standing on the stairs with nothing on, only a towel. From Lin Yi's angle, he could see everything under Tang Yun's body. Lin Yi couldn't help but feel his breath quicken. When he was with Tang Yun, the most intimate thing they did was to hold hands and kiss her cheeks. But now that he saw Tang Yun naked, his heart started beating faster. Tang Yun came downstairs and saw Lin Yi's weird expression. She followed his gaze and blushed. She panicked and screamed. She turned around and wanted to run upstairs, but in her haste, she stepped on the towel and dropped it. Tang Yun was in a vacuum. Lin Yi didn't know what was going on, but he didn't know what was going on. Tang Yun didn't know what was going on. Wow. Tang Yun sis is so fierce. Don't tell me you want to play 5P with us? Yushu's eyes widened as she looked at Tang Yun's bare chest, and then looked at herself. She muttered to herself, and it's still not as big as mine, but it's bigger than Yao Yao sis. Tang Yun was already embarrassed enough, and after hearing Yushu's words, she felt even more embarrassed. She wanted to bend down to pick up the towel, but the moment she bent down, her whole body froze. She was thinking that if she bent down with her back facing Lin Yi, wouldn't her but be facing Lin Yi? Didn't that mean that he had seen everything? Thinking of this, Tang Yun was even more embarrassed, and her hand stopped picking up the towel. She wanted to rush upstairs to avoid any more embarrassment, but the more she wanted to run up, the more problems occurred in her panic. She stepped on the towel again, and her body tilted, sliding down the stairs. Tang Yun screamed. She didn't think that she would be so unlucky slipping down again. This was bad. If she fell down, even if her bones weren't broken, her body would be bruised. Tang Yun closed her eyes and didn't dare to open them again. Everything happened in a split second. Although Lin Yi's heart was racing, he reacted the moment he saw Tang Yun fall down. He quickly ran up the stairs and caught Tang Yun. Oh, Shield Bro is so amazing. I don't have to worry about falling down the stairs anymore. Yushu clapped. Meng Yao didn't know what to say, but Yushu was telling the truth. There was one time before Lin Yi came, when Yushu was showering upstairs when a cartoon came on. Meng Yao called her over to watch it, and Yushu didn't even wipe herself clean before running downstairs. She fell down the stairs, her butt swollen up, and she only went to school after a couple of days of lying in bed at home. Yushu's face was swollen. Tang Yun thought that she would fall down for sure, but Lin Yi caught her at the critical moment. Tang Yun was both embarrassed and happy. Embarrassed that she wasn't wearing anything, and she was still naked. Happy that Lin Yi caught her. Meng Yao and Xiao Xiao both breathed out in relief. They were about to leave, and they didn't want anything to happen to Tang Yun. Meng Yao respected Tang Yun's love for Lin Yi, as well as her generosity in accepting Xiao Xiao. She felt that it was too petty of her to be enemies with Tang Yun, and so she started to worry about Tang Yun. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, had been extremely grateful to Tang Yun ever since she accepted her. Naturally, she didn't want anything to happen to her. Yushu, on the other hand, looked at Tang Yun in Lin Yi's arms and asked with a sly smile, "Tang Yun sis, does it feel good to have Shield Bro touch your boobs?" Tang Yun froze. She realized that Lin Yi's hand was on her chest. She struggled subconsciously, trying to get Lin Yi to let go of her. Lin Yi, on the other hand, realized that he was holding something soft in his hand. He didn't realize it in his rush. Lin Yi regretted it. He would have touched it properly if he knew this was going to happen. He didn't feel anything yet, so he had to let go. Lin Yi laughed dryly and let go, putting Tang Yun on the sofa. He said awkwardly, "I'm sorry, I didn't notice in the rush. Yao Yao, get some clothes for Tang Yun. I'll turn around first." Chapter 1142. Humbly asking for advice. Yao Yao, where's my clothes? Tang Yun let out a breath of relief when she saw Lin Yi turn around. She didn't mind Lin Yi looking at her, but not in a situation like this. She was naked in front of Meng Yao, Yushu, and Xiao Xiao. She'd rather die of embarrassment than let Lin Yi see her naked body. Tang Yun says, "Why are you so shy? Don't you do it with Shield Bro all the time?" Yushu didn't let it go as she giggled. Tang Yun almost died of embarrassment when she heard Yushu's words. She didn't think that she would let Yushu use it as an excuse when she was arguing with Meng Yao. Meng Yao smiled when she saw Tang Yun's face turn as red as an apple. It seemed like there really wasn't anything going on between her and Lin Yi. At the very least, their relationship was similar to hers and Shu's. With that thought, Meng Yao couldn't help but feel relieved. She scolded Shu. "Shu, don't cause trouble here. I'll tear your mouth apart if you talk nonsense again." Oh, Yushu subconsciously touched her mouth, not daring to talk nonsense anymore. She turned to Lin Yi. "Shield Bro, did you feel good touching me just now?" Tang Yun had just breathed a sigh of relief when she heard Yushu's words. She was about to stand up and get dressed with Meng Yao when she heard Yushu's words. She almost tripped and fell to the ground. Lin Yi had just let out a breath of relief. When Yushu came over to ask him a question like this, he felt a little awkward. "I don't know," Lin Yi said, not in a good mood. "Then compared to mine, which one feels better?" Yushu continued. "Wah." Lin Yi's eyes went wide, shocked. "Compared to hers? When did he touch her?" He couldn't just say things like that. He subconsciously turned around and glanced at Tang Yun from the corner of his eye. As for Tang Yun, she heard Yushu's words and subconsciously slowed down to look at Lin Yi's direction. Their eyes met, and Tang Yun was instantly embarrassed. She hadn't put on her clothes yet, and she was standing in the living room naked. Meng Yao couldn't stand it anymore. "Shu, stop it." "Oh." Yushu finally shut her mouth, a little unwilling to give up. Tang Yun sighed in relief after she went upstairs. She patted her chest. "This day, I was scared to death. Shu is just like that. Don't take it to heart. You'll get used to it. She's not a bad person, and she likes to joke around with people. Actually, she always teases me in front of Lin." Meng Yao smiled as she looked at Tang Yun's breasts. They were indeed much bigger than hers. She didn't remember Tang Yun being this big before. Meng Yao felt a little envious at the thought, and "I know she's not a bad person." Tang Yun nodded. "She's quite cute." Meng Yao opened the wardrobe after entering the changing room. She turned to Tang Yun. "You can choose any one of them. I'll go get your underwear." So many." Tang Yun felt dizzy. The wardrobe was filled with all kinds of clothes. Tang Yun never thought that a girl could have so many beautiful clothes. She was like a princess in a fairy tale. "Tang Yun, what cup size bra do you wear?" Underwear and underwear were the same, but the size of the bra was different. Meng Yao asked when she got the bra. "I wear D cup." Tang Yun said embarrassedly, "Mine is only B." "You probably won't be able to wear it." Meng Yao looked at Tang Yun's breasts enviously. "I don't remember you being this big before." Tang Yun blushed. She wasn't this big before, but it was barely a C. She saw that Shu's breasts were bigger, so she started drinking papaya milk every day. She also massaged her breasts, and that's how they got bigger. She was at the age of puberty, so it wasn't strange for her to get this effect so quickly. Why are they so big now?" Meng Yao couldn't help but ask. "I don't remember. They were this big before?" Tang Yun was startled. She didn't expect Meng Yao to see through her. She felt a little embarrassed. She stuttered. "I was shocked by you and Shu last time, so I drank papaya milk every day and massaged them. They really got bigger. Ugh. Is this really effective?" Meng Yao's heart skipped a beat. "And it's effective." Tang Yun saw through Meng Yao's thoughts. She blushed. "You can try." Meng Yao didn't hide it anymore. Tang Yun saw through her thoughts. "Then I'll try as well, but why should I wear a bra now?" Tang Yun was a little speechless. She couldn't just stand there naked all the time, could she? Shoes won't work either. She's at least FG. Meng Yao said hatefully. Why don't you wear the one from before? I left it in the washing machine. I'll go get it for you. And Tang Yin nodded. She quickly put on her underwear. At least she wasn't completely naked. It gave her some sense of security. Meng Yao took Tang Yun's old bra back and gave it to Tang Yun. After Tang Yun put it on, she started helping Tang Yun choose her clothes. Tang Yun was very shy at first, but under Meng Yao's instigation, Tang Yun tried on the clothes one after the other. Linny waited until Tang Yun went upstairs before turning around to see Yushu and Xiao Xiao tiptoeing up the stairs. He immediately stopped them. Stop messing around and sit down. Otherwise, I won't bring you guys later. Oh, Yushu wanted to go upstairs to watch the show, but Lin Yi caught her. She had to give up. Xiao Xiao was going to watch the show with Yushu anyway. It was fine if she didn't go. After a while, footsteps came from the stairs. Everyone looked up to see Tang Yun and Meng Yao coming downstairs. Tang Yun was wearing a bright yellow t-shirt that was tied up at the waist. She had on a pair of shorts and she had a pair of sunglasses on. She did look like a beach girl. She looked pretty much the same as Meng Yao and Yushu. Linny knew that Tang Yun wasn't any worse than Meng Yao and Yushu, but Lin Yi's eyes still lit up when she dressed up. What do you think, Lin Yi? Tang Yun is pretty, right? Meng Yao was a little pleased. This was her masterpiece. Chapter 1143. The car leaks. As long as they didn't fight, Lin Yi would be able to continue living in the villa peacefully. As for his relationship with the Miss and Shu, Lin Yi hadn't considered it yet. He just let it be. Lin Yi didn't know if he was still their follower and bodyguard. If he remembered correctly, Lin Yi had already resigned from Pengzhan last time, and the only reason he was staying was because of a promise he'd made to Yushu, more or less as a friend. Why are you thanking me? I have more clothes than I can wear anyways. Let's all wear them together in the future, or it'll be a waste. Meng Yao said faintly. Lin Yi smiled. The Miss was always like that. She was nice to people, but she didn't care. She was helping people, but she didn't care. It was quite interesting. Let's go then. I can't wait. Xiao Xiao said anxiously. Yeah, let's go. Lin Yi nodded. The five of them left the villa, and Meng Yao told General Wei Wu to look after the place before locking the door. As for who should sit in the front passenger seat, the Miss Shu and Tang Yun tacitly gave it to Xiao Xiao. They knew Xiao Xiao's situation very well, and this trip was to fulfill one of Xiao Xiao's wishes, so their goal was to make Xiao Xiao happy. Even Shu didn't want to fight with her over it. Lin Yi's Rover drove in front, and Jiang Wen's Ferrari followed behind. At the back was Gonglu's Audi Q7. They didn't avoid it, following behind, as if they were really in the same car. Yao, Jiang Wen's car is following us. Yushu looked behind and said to Meng Yao, I see them. Let them be. The Miss frowned and didn't say anything. Lin Yi, honey, pick the dirt road later. If they drive a sports car, we'll kill them. Xiao Xiao humphed. Ha! I was just about to say it. Yushu said. Lin Yi smiled, turned the steering wheel, and picked the worst dirt road in Songshan that led to the beach. There were very few cars on this road. Only agricultural vehicles would use this road to sell vegetables in the morning and evening. The rest of the vehicles were cargo vehicles that were not allowed to use the main road. This road was the kind that would become a road if it was used too much. There was no official maintenance, so naturally the road condition was very bad. This wasn't a problem for an off-road vehicle like the Rover, but for Jiang Wen's sports car, it was a bit of a struggle. Big brother, and why is this road so bad? I can't keep up. Tai Zhao complained to Jiang Wen as the road got more and more difficult. I'll let you drive if the road is bad. If the road is good, I'll drive it myself. Weren't you the king of Songshan's underground racetrack? Why are you dropping the ball now? Jiang Wen glared at him. Hurry up, don't lose them. This is a golden opportunity for me to hit on girls. Don't let it go to waste. Yes. Taizao had no choice but to keep driving. The road was really hard, even harder for a sports car. They're still following us. Xiao Xiao was a bit surprised. How was Jiang Wen still able to keep up at this speed? That driver, Taizao, is probably a master. He's picking the smooth roads to drive in an S shape, so he should be able to keep up for now. Lin Yi had been observing the cars behind them. Taizao was barely able to keep up, but it was very hard for him. Kacha! Taizao stopped the car with a bitter look on his face. And bro, it's bad. The undercarriage scraped. I think something's broken. Ah, can't you watch your car? Did you not wear your eyes? Jiang Wen was furious when he heard that the car was broken. If the car broke down at this time, wouldn't that be cheating? It's good enough that we can drive this far on this kind of road. The undercarriage is too low. Taizao smiled bitterly. Why didn't you say so earlier? What do we do now? Jiang Wen didn't really care about the car. A sports car was nothing to someone like him, who made money every day. It'd be troublesome if the trip was delayed. Why don't we take Gonglo's Q7 and let him wait for the tow trucks? Taizao suggested. All right, it's settled then, Jiang Wen said as he got off the car. Taizao told Ganglu about it. And naturally, Ganglu stayed behind to wait for the tow truck, giving the Q7 to Jiang Wen. And Taizao, this Jeep is really different. Jiang Wen sat in the Audi Q7, feeling much more comfortable now. He'd almost died from the bumps earlier. They changed cars. Lin Yi knew that Jiang Wen wouldn't give up so easily, so he wasn't too surprised. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, was a little disappointed. She'd wanted to mess with Jiang Wen and Taizao, at least make them fall over. This was just the beginning. The road ahead was going to be tough. She didn't expect them to change cars in time. Whatever, let's just follow them. We'll mess with them later. We'll kill them. Xiao Xiao said with gritted teeth. Meng Yao suddenly realized that having an idiot like Jiang Wen following them was quite an interesting thing. At least they wouldn't be lonely on the road. Of course, the prerequisite was that Yushu and Xiao Xiao, these two devil incarnate, were there. Otherwise, she really wouldn't know how to deal with him. Songshan's beach area was divided into the beach area and the normal area. The beach area was a relatively safe area, and there were safety nets in the middle of the water, preventing the beasts from entering the swimming area. This was enough to ensure the safety of the tourists, but this area had the most people, and the water quality was the worst as well. After all, there were people bathing every day, and the water quality wasn't that great. Lin Yi planned on going to the normal beach area. There weren't many people here, and normal people wouldn't choose to swim here. After all, normal people would only run when they saw sharks, not people like Yushu and Lin Yi who wanted to catch sharks to eat. Taizao drove the Audi and followed Lin Yi's Land Rover. The sky was getting darker, and Lin Yi's road was getting more and more deviated. Taizao wasn't a very brave person, and he was starting to get worried. And bro, what is this place? Why is it so dark? There aren't even any streetlights. This isn't right. I'm a little scared, Taizao said carefully as he locked the car door. Chapter 1144. Chapter 1142. Disguise. Xu Jingwen was a ruthless character, cutting out kidneys and killing people. There was nothing he wouldn't do under normal circumstances. But did Lin Yi lead us here on purpose to trap us? Taizao was still worried. Can there be ghosts here? Ghosts my ass. Don't talk nonsense. Jiang Wen glared at Taizao. Are you still sick or something? Cowardly thing. Are you still wetting your bed? I'm fine now. Taizao's face reddened as he shook his head. All right, let's follow then. Cut the bullshit. Jiang Wen raged. Hurry up and follow. Don't lose them. I can't. Taizao nodded and followed them. Wow, it's so quiet here, perfect for dating. Xiao Xiao was very satisfied with the current environment, the endless beach and ocean, quiet and serene. Meng Yao and Tang Yun looked at each other, smiling bitterly. Only Xiao Xiao could say something like that. Oh, Shu could too. You guys pick a place, we'll camp here tonight. Linny parked the car on the beach and said to the girls, "It's pretty much the same here. Can we just pick a random place?" Tang Yin looked out the window and realized that it was already late. The beach looked the same everywhere, so it didn't matter where they set up camp. All right, let's do it here. Linny nodded and got off the car to prepare their camping supplies. The Miss and Shu bought 2 tents from the supermarket. One tent could fit 5 people, but the Miss didn't have a real relationship with Lin Yi, so she couldn't stay in the same tent with Lin Yi. She'd lose face if she did. Tang Yun, you stay with me and Shu tonight? Let Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao stay together? Meng Yao pulled Tang Yun over and whispered. That was what they were thinking when they bought the tents. One for Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao, and the other for Tang Yun. Yes, of course. Tang Yun didn't even think about it and agreed. Although she was a little disappointed in her heart, it was the first time she came out to play. Logically speaking, she should be staying with Lin Yi, but thinking about it, she and Lin Yi still had a long way to go. There would always be opportunities. Xiao Xiao was different. She might die at any time. So Tang Yin naturally had to make her the leader. Oh, I want to live with Shield Bro too. Yushu interrupted. You live under the same roof as Lin Yi every day. What are you doing here? Go get the tent. Meng Yao glared at Shu, feeling embarrassed. Oh. Yushu turned around to get the tent ready. The 2 tents were placed quite far away from each other, and Meng Yao found it strange. Shu, why did you put the tents so far away from each other? Oh, I'm just worried that Shield Bro's tent might make weird noises at night and disturb our rest. Yushu said. Broken mouth Shu, what nonsense are you talking about? That's not what you said just now. Xiao Xiao's face went red as she glared at Yushu, flustered. You just said that you guys don't want to play poker at night and disturb us. Yeah, I don't want to disturb your XX. Yushu nodded matter-of-factly. Meng Yao and Tang Yin looked at each other, not sure if they should cry or laugh. These two really were a perfect match, working together when there were enemies, fighting each other when there weren't any. Bullshit. Xiao Xiao's face was red. I'm not bullshitting. I know exactly what you're thinking, Yushu said. How do you know? You're not a parasite in my stomach, Xiao Xiao retorted. Because we're similar, I can imitate you. I'm fake Shu, Yushu said. Then I know you want to do XX with Linny too. That's why you're thinking like that. Xiao Xiao said. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I want to play 3P too. Yushu said. All right then, I want to do it too. Xiao Xiao said. Why don't you come tonight and play 3P with us? Meng Yao and Tang Yun saw that the two were getting more and more out of control and quickly stopped them from continuing. Shu, Xiao Xiao. The two yelled at each of them. Can't you guys be more serious? Don't study these random things? Meng Yao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Yeah, Lin Yi's starting a fire over there. Let's help him out. Tang Yin said. There was no need to start a fire in the summer, but Lin Yi wanted to make dinner more festive, so he made a campfire dinner. Jiang Wen and Tai Zhao drove the car to the beach as well, finding a place not far from Lin Yi's group. They wanted to join in the fun with Meng Yao, but they were afraid that Meng Yao wouldn't be willing. They had to think of a roundabout way to get closer. And bro, this place is too secluded. It's a little scary. Tai Zhao parked the car and didn't want to get off. Can't you be a little more mature? What's so scary about this beach? There's no sea monsters. Jiang Wen got off the car, not thinking much of it. Lin Yi's starting a fire over there. We need to show our skills as well. Get the cooking equipment Gang Lu bought. We'll cook something delicious and attract Meng Yao here with the smell. Oh. Tai Zhao got out of the car unwillingly, shivering as the cold sea breeze hit him. The two of them opened the trunk of the Audi Q7. Sure enough, in the trunk, There was a barbecue stove used for picnics, as well as some ready-made lamb skewers, rib skewers, chicken wing skewers, vegetable skewers, and so on. Ha! This young Ganglu really knows how to do things. A beach is the best place to have a barbecue party. Jiang Wen was overjoyed as he looked at the things in the trunk. If it was something else, he really didn't know how to cook. After all, he didn't learn any cooking skills. But barbecue, especially when it came to these ready-made things, it was easy. Who didn't know how to barbecue? And bro, should we barbecue now? Tai Zhao moved the barbecue stove out of the car and placed it on the beach, lighting it up with the headlights. The headlights calmed Tai Zhao down a little. After all, this beach was in the middle of nowhere, and it made his heart skip a beat. Yeah, let's do it here. Hurry up and start the fire. I'm starving. I've been watching Mingyao's house all day, and I haven't even eaten anything. Jiang Wen said, Okay, let me look at the manual first. How to use it? Tai Zhao said. Chapter 1145. We want to eat seafood. Who still lights a fire these days? Isn't that something only primitive people do? It's all electric grills now. Tai Zhao said gleefully. Look at Lin Yi starting a fire over there like an idiot. It's not environmentally friendly at all, and it's easy to burn himself. Fuck, you idiot. There's no electricity in the middle of nowhere. You didn't buy one that plugs in, did you? Jiang Wen panicked a little. Ganglu shouldn't have made such a stupid mistake. Tai Zhao started sweating at Jiang Wen's words. Yeah, there was no electricity in the middle of nowhere. Was this a joke? Then what's going on? Don't tell me it doesn't need to be plugged in. Jiang Wen was pissed. And bro, this is solar powered. You don't have to use electricity, Tai Zhao said as he flipped open the manual. I told you that Ganglu's a smart guy. He wouldn't make a stupid mistake like that. Sun my ass. Where's the sun? Why don't you ask him to buy one that's powered by the moon? Jiang Wen was even more pissed. What the hell is this? Solar powered. And bro, calm down. I'll call Ganglu right now and see what's going on. Tai Zhao wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. What the hell was with this Ganglu? Why did he buy such a stupid thing? Ask him then. Jiang Wen waved his hand. Troubled. Ganglu, what's wrong with you? Why did you buy a solar-powered grill? Where's the sun at night? What do you expectin', bro, and I to do with it? Tai Zhao scolded Ganglu right to his face. Tai Zhao, bro, this is the latest high-tech product, an upgraded version of the 3-in-1. It's the best-selling model right now. Ganglu said, a little wronged. Not only can it be powered by the sun, but you can also do it by hand, and you can connect it to the cigarette lighter in the car. Is that so? Why didn't you say so earlier? You scared me. Tai Zhao breathed out in relief upon hearing that it could be powered by hand and a car. How's bro's sports car? I'm in the workshop. I'm repairing it. Yang Ganglu said. All right, you can repair it first. I'm going to barbecue with Big Brother, and Tai Zhao hung up the phone and turned to Jiang Wen. And bro, this grill isn't just solar powered. You can also use your hands to start the grill and get electricity from the cigarette lighter. I see. I've wronged Ganglu then. This is good stuff. Hurry up and put it in the car. I'm going to barbecue. Jiang Wen was delighted. Sure enough, after the barbecue grill was inserted into the car, it heated up and even shone with a colorful light. It was very beautiful. Tai Zhao put the meat skewers and chicken wings on the grill and started grilling them, filling the air with the aroma of barbecue. You roast it first. I'll go get Meng Yao and the others. With that, Jiang Wen walked over to Lin Yi's side and turned to Meng Yao, who was going to help Lin Yi. Yao, you guys are here too? We're having a barbecue over there. Do you want to join us? What do you like to eat? I'll get Tai Zhao to make some for you. Meng Yao frowned. She'd thought that Jiang Wen would wait a while before coming to talk to them. But Jiang Wen came right after they'd settled down. We've prepared our own food. You guys eat yourself. Thanks for the offer. Meng Yao said indifferently, "Haha, it's fine. It's just the two of us. We've prepared a lot of food, lamb skewers, pork skewers, vegetable skewers, chicken wing skewers." Jiang Wen said excitedly, "Yao Yao, and I want to eat seafood." Yushu interrupted Jiang Wen's words. "Ah, seafood?" Jiang Wen paused. He'd looked at the meat skewers in the car. They were basically all beef, lamb, chicken, and the like. There wasn't any seafood. It's so nice to have a barbecue party at the beach. Why do we have to eat seafood? Of course we have to eat seafood at the beach. That's the mood, right? Eating seafood with the sea breeze is the best. You can eat barbecue anywhere. We can even have a barbecue party in our yard. Get out of the way if you don't have seafood. Don't stay here. Yushu's words stopped Jiang Wen. "But there's no seafood here?" Jiang Wen said bitterly, "Isn't there seafood everywhere in the sea? What a joke." Yushu pointed at the sea. "Ugh, I see. You guys wait." Jiang Wen couldn't do anything else. So he gave up and ran back to Taizao to think of something. Jiang Wen felt that he'd made a mistake. He should have asked Meng Yao what they wanted to eat when he went to her house, but it was too late now. "Shu, you're so bad. You're not telling him to go fishing for seafood, are you?" Meng Yao couldn't help but laugh. "Wasn't this just torturing him? I'm not asking him to. If he wants to understand it that way, then so be it." Yushu shook her head with a serious face. Meng Yao shook her head. With Jiang Wen's personality, he'd probably send Taizao out to fish for seafood. But what could he do in the middle of the night? As expected, Jiang Wen and Taizao went back to discuss and decided to go fishing for seafood. Mutton skewers and chicken wings were delicious, but Meng Yao didn't like them. Jiang Wen's main purpose for coming to the beach was to attract Meng Yao's attention and get on her good side. Now that Meng Yao wanted to eat seafood, of course he'd have to find a way to satisfy her request. "Drive the car to the beach and shine the headlights on. We'll go fishing for seafood." Jiang Wen gritted his teeth. "All right." Taizao, of course, did whatever Jiang Wen said. He didn't really want to go fishing for seafood in the middle of the night, but he couldn't fall behind, since Jiang Wen was doing it himself. Jiang Wen and Taizao changed into swimming trunks and dove into the sea under the light of the headlights. But where were they supposed to get seafood in the dark, not to mention at night? Even during the day, it would be difficult to catch any seafood. If he wanted to get seafood, he had to go deeper into the sea, but the sea was dark and quiet at night. Jiang Wen might be brave, but he didn't dare go too deep into the sea. If he wasn't careful, he'd be looking for death. This wasn't a swimming area. It was a danger zone. Who knew what dangers lurked under the sea? Chapter 1146. You went yourself and bro. How's it going over there? Taizao had been searching around for a long time, and not only did he not get much, he even cut his foot. He didn't know what he stepped on, but there was a cut on his foot. "It's just clams and sea screws. Nothing else." Jiang Wen said bitterly, "This should be enough, right? I don't think we'll be able to get anything else." Taizao was freezing. It wasn't the middle of summer, and the sun wasn't that bright. The seawater was cold at night, and it didn't absorb much heat. He would have run out a long time ago if Jiang Wen wasn't there. "That's true. Let's just leave this for now. It's enough for the two of us. We'll give it to that troublemaker girl, and Yao Yao first. I can't care about the others." Jiang Wen was a human, too, and he was freezing. Jiang Wen and Taizao got out of the water and realized that their harvest was pretty good. The two of them had gathered enough to make a bowl of seafood soup, and so Jiang Wen happily went to Meng Yao with a bowl of seafood. "Yao Yao, I just got a lot of seafood. It's all fresh from the sea," Jiang Wen said as he put the seafood in front of Meng Yao and Yushu. But Yushu spoke up before Meng Yao could. "What kind of seafood is this? It's just a bunch of clams and seashells. How are we supposed to eat them? This is all we have now. This is all we can get from the sea." Jiang Wen grumbled to himself. It took a lot of effort to get these shitty clams and conchas out. It was already good enough that they could get this much at night. Oh, you guys eat it yourself. We have big seafood. We don't need you. With that, Yushu pulled out a styrofoam box from the trunk of the car. She opened it to reveal all sorts of seafood inside. Everything you could think of. Wah! Jiang Wen's eyes went wide. Who says we have to go to the sea to eat seafood? You went there yourself. I didn't ask you to. Yushu rolled her eyes as she looked at Jiang Wen in disdain. Jiang Wen really wanted to scream. He'd been tricked again, but he couldn't do anything about it. What did it have to do with Yushu? The other party didn't even ask him to fish for it. He was thinking too much. Shield bro, let's barbecue seafood. Yushu ignored Jiang Wen and happily brought a box of seafood to Lin Yi's fireplace. Lin Yi had already set up the grill and was ready to start cooking. Jiang Wen stomped his feet angrily and went back with a small plate of sea snails and clams. Big brother, and why are you back? What did Meng Yao think? Are you touched that we went fishing for seafood in the middle of the night? Tai Zhao was quite far away and didn't hear the conversation. Touch my ass. Jiang Wen wasn't angry anymore, but Tai Zhao brought it up again. They have seafood in boxes from the supermarket. Why would we go fish for them? Idiots. Then why didn't they say anything? Tai Zhao blinked. He almost froze to death for nothing. Man, it's my fault for not asking. Jiang Wen knew that Yushu was hiding it on purpose, but it was also his fault for not asking in detail. He'd been tricked twice already. If he'd asked Meng Yao what they wanted to eat, he'd have gone to the supermarket and bought it. If he'd asked if they had seafood, he wouldn't have gone fishing for it. Then, and bro, what do we do now? Tai Zhao asked. Eat it ourselves. Jiang Wen said, troubled. We'll be fishing for nothing. Lin Yi started roasting the seafood over the fire, and the aroma wafted into Jiang Wen and Tai Zhao's nostrils, making them drool even more. We'll do it too. Jiang Wen gritted his teeth. Don't we have lamb skewers and chicken wings? It's not any worse than theirs. That's right. I'll go prepare it now. Tai Zhao quickly went to prepare, but tragically realized that the car's battery was out of battery. He'd used the headlights to go fishing for seafood, but forgot to turn the car on and used too much power. And bro, it's bad. The battery is dead. Su Taichen cried out bitterly as he tried to drive the car for a while. Huh? Out of battery? What's wrong with you? Can't you do anything? Jiang Wen said furiously. I forgot to turn the engine on. Tai Zhao said carefully. You, forget it. Jiang Wen wanted to yell at him, but he was too hungry right now. He didn't have the strength to do so. Doesn't this technology support manual power generation? Go do it yourself. Me? Tai Zhao looked at the grill, realizing that it was a manual one. In other words, he'd have to use his hands to keep cooking the food. Wouldn't he die of exhaustion if he waited for the food to be cooked? Bullshit. Who else would it be if it wasn't you? Jiang Wen glared at him. Hurry up. Don't waste time. It's just a joystick, right? Just think of it as hitting a plane. Tai Zhao had no choice but to go over and start shaking the joystick quickly. As expected, heat came from the grill and a rainbow light flashed. Tai Zhao couldn't help but get angry. Which idiot invented this? Working so hard to generate this little electricity, can't they use it in the right place? How much sweat did they waste on this? Stop wasting time. Shake it, Jiang Wen said as he flipped the skewers on the grill. On the other hand, Lin Yi was already enjoying the delicious seafood barbecue. How romantic. I didn't think that I'd have this day too, Xiao Xiao murmured as she looked at the sizzling seafood on the fire. She thought that she'd never have friendship or love in her life, but all of a sudden, she had it all. Xiao Xiao's friends were all from racing, not the kind that she could really trust. There was no way she'd go camping with them. And who knew what they were thinking? The oysters are done. Lin Yi took a couple of oysters off the grill and put them on a plate for Yushu. You guys eat first. Oh, it's ready. Yushu happily brought the plate to Meng Yao. Xiao Xiao and Tang Yun putting it on the beach. I'll go get some drinks. Chapter 1147. Chapter 1145. Xiao Xiao's misunderstanding. Xiao Xiao regretted that she was a step too late, letting Tang Yun get to it first. Man, she was such a failure as a small wife. But she didn't want to be outdone. She followed Yushu to the car to get the drinks for Lin Yi. But the moment they got to the car, Yushu tossed the drinks into Xiao Xiao's hands, leaving only one. Here, take it. Xiao Xiao blinked, but Yushu was already running towards Lin Yi. Yushu quickly ran to Lin Yi and waited for Tang Yun to put the oyster into Lin Yi's mouth before opening the can and passing it to Lin Yi, smiling. Shield bro, after eating the big wife's oyster, have a sip of the small wife's drink. Cunning Shu, you're too evil. I was just about to give Lin Yi honey a drink. Xiao Xiao was furious as she hugged the drinks. She glared at Yushu. What small wife are you? You're not even certified yet. I'm the real small wife. Hee, so what? It's your fault for being half a beat slower. Yushu didn't care. Humph. Xiao Xiao glared at Yushu, not saying anything. All right, I'll let you have it then. Yushu thought about it and decided to give the chance to Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao was about to die, so what was the point of fighting with her? Meng Yao and Tang Yin looked at each other, both seeing a helpless bitter smile in each other's eyes. Xiao Xiao and Yushu were really evenly matched, and they couldn't be happy if they didn't quarrel with each other. But once they got used to it, it was fine. After all, they didn't have any bad intentions, and it was just a fight of words. They wouldn't hurt each other. After enjoying the seafood barbecue, Linny put out the fire and cleaned up the trash, putting it in a bag. This was not a beach. No one collected the trash. If these things were left here, it would obviously damage the environment. As planned, Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao stayed in one tent, while Meng Yao, Yushu, and Tang Yun stayed in the other tent. The two tents weren't too far from each other, but in the silence of the seaside, if Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao were to really do something, the tent on the other side would definitely hear it. After dinner, Meng Yao and Tang Yun dragged Yushu back to their tent, leaving only Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao. Shall we go back as well? The atmosphere was a little ambiguous and awkward. Lin Yi hesitated for a moment before asking, Yeah. Xiao Xiao nodded, blushing. She was starting to get a little scared again. Was the legendary event really going to happen tonight? Xiao Xiao was looking forward to it, but she was also a little shy. Since she had decided to be with Lin Yi, Xiao Xiao naturally treated Lin Yi as her first and last man, the only man in her life. Xiao Xiao's situation didn't allow her to hesitate. Once she made up her mind, she had to keep going. Other people might have the chance to break up, but Xiao Xiao didn't have the time. No one in her mother's family could escape the curse of fate. It had been like this for generations, and Xiao Xiao didn't think she'd be able to escape this at all. So she had to be very, very careful when it came to choosing a partner. Once she made up her mind, there was no room for regret. Even so, being alone with Lin Yi in the tent, Xiao Xiao couldn't help but feel a little reserved. She might seem bold, but most girls would be hesitant and shy when it came to something like this. What's wrong? Lin Yi noticed that something was wrong with Xiao Xiao. Too, she was acting like a punching bag as she followed him around. This wasn't the same Xiao Xiao from before, was it? It's nothing. Xiao Xiao was struggling in the depths of her heart. She kept asking herself, did she like Lin Yi or not? Was she with him because she wanted revenge, or had she really fallen in love with him? Xiao Xiao didn't have that much of a dilemma at first. From her perspective, it didn't matter if she was messing with Lin Yi or if she loved Lin Yi. As long as she slept with him, he'd care for her more, and he'd be even sadder when she died. But now that things had come to this, Xiao Xiao couldn't help but hesitate. After all, for every girl, the first time was very precious. Xiao Xiao's thoughts were just thoughts, but if she really did it, it'd be different. Ha! What? You're afraid I'll eat you up? Linny joked, seeing the awkward atmosphere. But the listener didn't mean what he said. It was just a normal joke, and there wasn't much meaning behind it, but in Xiao Xiao's ears it was full of different meanings. Normally, I'll eat you up wasn't a big deal, but the meaning behind it was a little ambiguous. If you really had to explain it, you could split it into 3 types. First, I'm hungry and I want to eat you up. This was the original meaning. This kind of situation often occurs between 2 ferocious animals, one high and one low. For example, a tiger says to a goat, I want to eat you. Second, I'm not hungry, but I hate you, and I want to eat you up to vent my hatred. This was the extended meaning. This usually happened between 2 enemies, like 2 people fighting, and one said, I want to eat you up. Third, I want to push you down. This was the popular meaning. It was also used a lot on the internet, and in reality, this usually happened between couples, and the guy saw the girl's pretty face and wanted to push her down, but he couldn't say it out loud, so he subtly said, I want to eat you up. Or maybe the girl was in a very emotional situation and wanted to give herself to the boyfriend, but was too embarrassed to say it out loud, so she said, eat me up. The first and second didn't seem very suitable in the current situation, and Lin, Yi, and Xiao Xiao were a couple, so naturally Xiao Xiao thought of the third meaning, and her face turned red. Xiao Xiao didn't know what to say. Looking at Xiao Xiao's face, Lin Yi paused, realizing that his words had been misunderstood. But in all honesty, Lin Yi really didn't mean it that way. Lin Yi was just joking, saying, I'm not a tiger. Are you afraid I'll eat you up? Chapter 1148. Chapter 1146. Lin Yi's worries, yeah. Xiao Xiao nodded and went into the tent with Lin Yi. Originally, the atmosphere between the 2 of them outside was ambiguous and awkward enough. But now that they were inside the tent, it was even more uncomfortable. It wasn't that Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao didn't have the chance to be alone in a room before. In fact, Xiao Xiao had been honest with him. But Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao didn't have anything to do with each other back then. At most, they were classmates or desk mates. But now, they were a couple. This couple, although there were elements of pretense and revenge, no matter what happened in the beginning, now that the 2 of them had feelings for each other, the situation had become completely different. Xiao Xiao, do you feel uncomfortable after eating seafood today? Lin Yi broke the awkwardness between the 2 and changed the topic. Of course, this was what Lin Yi was worried about as well. After all, Xiao Xiao's sickness last time was caused by eating too much seafood. It's all right, I don't feel too uncomfortable. I didn't eat too much this time. Xiao Xiao didn't expect Lin Yi to care for her this much. She felt warm in her heart. Now that Lin Yi was treating her so well, could she still take revenge on him? Xiao Xiao's heart melted, but at the same time, she became even more fearful. She was afraid that her death would bring trouble to Lin Yi. At this moment, Xiao Xiao had the urge to confess to Lin Yi, but she couldn't bring herself to say it. That's good. If you feel uncomfortable, tell me, so I can deal with it. Lin Yi said, Okay. Xiao Xiao nodded. She wasn't as nervous as before. Then let's rest early. We still have to go watch the sunrise tomorrow morning. Lin Yi said to Xiao Xiao, Should I turn off the lights? The lights in the tent are charged. I'm afraid they'll run out. Okay. He's going to sleep now? Xiao Xiao blinked. Lin Yi was going to sleep? She looked at Lin Yi with some uncertainty. Was Lin Yi resting? Or was he doing something that couples should do after turning off the lights? The sun rises very early at the seaside. If we don't get some rest, we won't be able to get up tomorrow morning, Lin Yi said. Oh. Xiao Xiao couldn't tell from Lin Yi's words what Lin Yi really meant, so she just nodded. Lin Yi casually turned off the tent's light. At this moment, the tent was instantly plunged into darkness. Sleep early, good night, Lin Yi said to Xiao Xiao as he laid down. Xiao Xiao paused. She didn't think that when he said he was going to sleep, he really meant sleep. Looking at Lin Yi, it didn't seem like he had any intentions of taking off his jacket, nor did he want to get closer to her. This made Xiao Xiao feel a little uncomfortable. She opened her eyes and looked at Lin Yi, who was lying on his back. Lin Yi was lying on his back. The two of them were lying so close together, and Xiao Xiao should have been very nervous and excited, but she didn't feel that way at all, because she felt that Lin Yi didn't seem to have any intentions of going any further. She waited for a while, but Lin Yi didn't react at all. Xiao Xiao cursed Lin Yi for being a blockhead. A man and a woman alone in a tent. Didn't he have any thoughts at all? She was a girl, and she already had thoughts. Why didn't he? Lin Yi, honey, are you asleep? Xiao Xiao couldn't help but ask. Not yet. Lin Yi smiled bitterly as he opened his eyes. In actuality, Lin Yi wasn't Luxiaoui. Lin Yi didn't have the unruffled heart art to protect himself, but Lin Yi had an extraordinary willpower. Lin Yi had feelings for Xiao Xiao, there was no doubt about that, but before he figured out how to deal with Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi didn't have the mood to do anything else with her. The more he interacted with Xiao Xiao, the more he realized that he developed an unforgettable feeling for this girl. But the more it was like this, the more worried Lin Yi felt. He didn't want Xiao Xiao to die, but there was nothing he could do. People called him Miracle Dr. Lin, and he had the art of dragon mastery, but he still couldn't do anything about Xiao Xiao's illness. This was the tragedy of being a miracle doctor, right? There were quite a lot of cases like this, treating people their whole lives, but not the people around them. Then, let's talk. I can't sleep. Xiao Xiao didn't feel sleepy at all. Lin Yi was right beside her, and she was excited and nervous. She didn't want to sleep at all. Talk about what? Lin Yi turned his head around. He couldn't see Xiao Xiao's expression in the dark, but her bright eyes were clear. Lin Yi's heart moved a little. There was love, there was pity, and most of all, there was unwillingness. Lin Yi wanted to save Xiao Xiao's life, but there was nothing he could do. Can you tell me what happened between you and my dad? You were my dad's colleague? Then now you... Xiao Xiao had always been curious about how Lin Yi and her father knew each other. Xiao Xiao didn't know everything about her father's job, but she knew a thing or two. Most of the things he did were extremely dangerous. And how could Lin Yi be old friends with her father? But just from Lin Yi's strength, it was possible. But Xiao Xiao was puzzled. Her father's job was for life, so how did Lin Yi become a student? And even if Lin Yi could change jobs, how old was Lin Yi? How could he be her father's colleague? All these questions filled Xiao Xiao's heart with questions. There's nothing much to say. I'm not on your father's side. I joined as an external helper, so I'm more free and relaxed. Lin Yi shrugged with a smile. That's all I can say. Some things are confidential. I'm sure you understand. Oh, I see. Xiao Xiao was a little disappointed, but it wasn't her place to ask more. Jiangwen and Taizao's tent. Taizao was using binoculars to keep an eye on Meng Yao and Lin Yi's tents. Jiangwen had been monitoring them, but after a while he felt that it was too boring, and he couldn't hear what they were talking about, so he gave it to Taizao. Chapter 1149. Chapter 1147. Plan begins. Oh, so you're saying that Lin Yi and Yao have nothing to do with each other? Jiangwen was overjoyed. That should be the case. Their tent can fit 5 people, and if Lin Yi really has something to do with them, why would he go out alone with Xiao Xiao? Taizao analyzed. That makes sense. Does that mean that my chances are quite high? That Meng Yao doesn't like Lin Yi at all, and she's just using him as a shield? Jiangwen thought about it, and slapped his thigh. That's right. I finally understand why that Yushu girl calls Lin E shield bro. She's definitely using Lin E as a shield, and it has nothing to do with Lin E at all. And bro, you're a godly man coming up with such a brilliant theory. You could be a detective. You're the famous Detective Inermos. Taizao felt that Jiang Wen's words made sense. I knew it. No matter how strong Pengzhan is, there's no way he'd marry his daughter off to Lin E when Lin E already has a girlfriend. What's wrong with that? It'd be fine if Lin E was some rich kid, but he's just a bodyguard. What's so great about that? Great. Today's trip was really not in vain. I believe that as long as I keep working hard, I'll win Mingyao's heart for sure. Jiang Wen was filled with fighting spirit. Let's start our plan A. Plan A? Now? Taizao paused. But the executor of the plan, Gang Lu, isn't here? He's not here, but you are, right? Don't you know how to execute the plan? The three of us came up with this plan, so you take over. Jiang Wen ordered with a frown. Ugh, but it's so dark. I'm a little scared by myself. Taizao looked out of the tent and saw that it was pitch black outside. Other than the moonlight, there wasn't a single light to be seen. It was a scary sight on this empty beach. Are you kidding me? You're pretending to be a ghost. People are afraid of you, okay? You're still afraid. What do you have to be afraid of? People run when they see you. Jiang Wen said hatefully, Why are you such a coward? All right. Taizao had no choice but to nod. Gang Lu wasn't here, so he couldn't just let Jiang Wen pretend to be a ghost, could he? In the plan, Jiang Wen was supposed to catch the ghost and play the role of a hero rescuing a damsel in distress. Who was going to save the damsel in distress if he was the one pretending to be the ghost? With that in mind, Taizao tiptoed out of the tent and went to the trunk of the car to prepare it. Mengyao, Yushu, and Tang Yun's tent. The three girls were putting on face masks, and it was Tang Yun's first time enjoying something like this. She was looking forward to it. She'd never put on a face mask before, and her family's financial situation didn't allow her to buy such luxuries. It feels so weird. Tang Yun touched her face that was covered by the mask and said curiously, It's not fair. You've never used a facial mask before. Why is your skin so good? Yao sis, and I always put on facial masks, and we're only as good as you. Yushu looked at Tang Yun's face, a little depressed as she studied the part of her neck that wasn't covered by the mask. We're young now, so we can't tell. When we get older, I won't be as good as you guys. Tang Yun smiled, but there was a hint of disappointment in her smile. It's not too late now. From now on, you can take care of your skin with us. Your skin won't be too bad in the future, right? The miss felt the disappointment in Tang Yun's voice and quickly explained, Tang Yun sighed lightly. It's expensive, right? I can't afford it. Tang Yun was a little embarrassed when she said it, but she wasn't the type to put on airs. She didn't have money, so what if she was poor? Shield Bro is rich, and he's starting a medicine company now. He'll be a rich man in the future, and I'll have to rely on him for my livelihood. Aren't you the main wife? Why aren't you the second wife? Yushu said, It's not easy for him to earn money, right? Tang Yun knew that Lin Yi was rich, but it wasn't something that could be changed in a short period of time. I think it's pretty easy. The miss who hadn't said anything until now finally spoke. Tang Yun was amused by the miss's words. It seems like Lin Yi's earning money is much easier than Daddy's. Mengyao said with a serious face. How much is the total assets of Daddy's company? But Lin Yi's company had hundreds of millions of cash flow at the beginning. Hundreds of millions? This concept was too far away for Tang Yun. She had never seen so much money before. It was an astronomical figure, and Tang Yun had never thought about it before. Don't mention hundreds of millions, even tens of thousands was a huge amount for Tang Yun's family. When she was with Lin Yi, she never thought about how much money he had. and it was the same now. She never thought about being greedy for Lin Yi's money. That, we'll see. Tang Yun shook her head. Right, Yun sis, aren't you jealous when you see Xiao Xiao and Shield Bro together? Yushu saw Xiao Xiao calling Tang Yun sis, so she followed suit. No. Tang Yun shook her head. You're so generous. Yushu looked at Tang Yun, wanting to find evidence of her lying. How can I be as generous as you? You keep saying that you want to be the second wife. Tang Yun retorted. It was just a joke. The miss was a little embarrassed, blushing. Shu and I were worried about Lin Yi's safety. That's why we said that. It's not like that. Yao, why won't you admit it? Didn't you say that you like Shield Bro? Yushu was panicking. When did I say that? I said that I don't like him. Meng Yao corrected. Is that so? Did I remember it wrong? Yushu scratched her head, a little depressed. Man, then how am I going to be the second wife in the future? Tang Yun knew a thing or two about the Miss personality after spending some time with her. She knew that Meng Yao didn't mean what she said, and that she cared about face, so she didn't take it seriously. Whether or not Meng Yao had that kind of feelings for Lin Yi, as Lin Yi's girlfriend, Tang Yun was the most sensitive and clear. But since the Miss didn't admit it, Tang Yun didn't need to expose it. At the very least, the Miss was showing her kindness towards her. Tang Yun didn't have anything to say about it. Chapter 1150. Who's scaring who? Although Lin Yi had expressed his feelings to Tang Yun more than once, Tang Yun still felt that Lin Yi was too outstanding, and she didn't feel comfortable with him, especially when she couldn't help Lin Yi at all. She felt that she was just a vase, pretty but useless. Let's not talk about that. Meng Yao shook her head. It's already the 1st of May. There's only 1 month left until the college entrance exams. Tang Yun, which university do you want to apply to? I don't know. Tang Yun shook her head. But I'll apply to whichever Lin Yi applies to. What about you guys? Meng Yao pursed her lips. Naturally, she wanted to be in the same university as Lin Yi, but she'd said that she didn't like Lin Yi. If she didn't like him, why bother? Why don't we all apply to the same university? We're all good friends. We can take care of each other? Tang Yun's heart ached a little. As expected, Meng Yao did have feelings for Lin Yi, but Tang Yun wasn't the type of person who liked to use underhanded methods to deal with her rival. She wanted to do it openly, and so she took the initiative to invite Meng Yao. Yeah, that's fine. I don't have many friends. Other than Shu, it's you and Lin. Meng Yao nodded. What do you guys think Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao are doing right now? Yushu asked suddenly. How would we know? The Miss frowned. Meng Yao didn't feel comfortable with Lin Yi doing that kind of thing with another girl. Xiao Xiao was dying, but she still felt conflicted. Of course, it was just conflicted logically. She supported Xiao Xiao and Lin Yi being together. Oh, then do you guys need Shu to help you scout around and see what they're doing? Yushu suggested, as she looked outside the tent. You can go if you want to. We didn't send you. Meng Yao wanted to know what Xiao Xiao and Lin Yi were doing after Yushu said that, but she didn't want to say it out loud. I don't know. I'm not participating. Tang Yun shook her head. Oh, then I'll be right back. Yushu couldn't wait any longer. With her personality, she wouldn't be Yushu if she didn't sneak a peek. Meng Yao and Tang Yun looked at each other. Tang Yun was the one who cared about Lin Yi the most, but since she already knew what they were going to do, and she accepted it in her heart, it didn't matter whether she went or not. Meng Yao, on the other hand, couldn't join in the fun with Yushu. Wouldn't that show that she cared about Lin Yi? I don't care about him at all. Yushu tiptoed out of the tent, sneaking towards Lin Yi's tent. Tai Zhao put on a black raincoat and rubber gloves as he walked in the direction of Meng Yao's tent, his heart pounding. Jiang Wen was already prepared, ready to fly to Meng Yao's rescue the moment she screamed. As far as he was concerned, Lin Yi and Feng Xiaoxiao must be doing something indecent. And if Meng Yao were to call for help now, he wouldn't have the time to be distracted, and the responsibility of saving the damsel in distress would fall onto his shoulders. Tai Zhao was very scared. He was pretending to be a ghost, but he was more afraid of running into a ghost. He was just a fake ghost, and he knew that it would be bad if he ran into a real ghost in this dark place. Spirits of the heavens, spirits of the earth, please don't let me run into a ghost, Tai Zhao chanted as he walked forward. Yushu saw a black shadow sneaking out of Jiang Wen's tent the moment she came out. She didn't know what it was trying to do. And so, Yushu wasn't in a rush to go check on Lin, Yi, and Xiao Xiao. She laid down on the beach and pretended to be a beach, wanting to see what the shadow was up to. Tai Zhao was very scared, and he didn't dare look around. Yushu's disguise skills were very good, too, and he wouldn't be able to see her if he wasn't paying attention. Is this Jiang Wen or Su Tai Zhao? What's he doing? Why is he wearing a raincoat? It's not raining. Is he? Is he going to dive? Yushu mumbled to herself as she stared at Tai Zhao. Tai Zhao took one careful step at a time, glancing back from time to time, afraid that something was following him. This Ganglu, what the hell is he up to? He's not coming, and now I'm pretending to be a ghost. Man, this is scary. Tai Zhao gritted his teeth, wanting to finish his mission as soon as possible. She saw that Tai Zhao wasn't far from her, and he was walking towards her tent. Yushu decided to interrogate this guy first, and so she got up from the beach and ran behind Tai Zhao, patting him on the shoulder. Wah, what the hell is this? Tai Zhao's body tensed up. He'd been looking back 3 times with every step he took, and there was no one behind him at all. What could it be? It's you, right? And bro, don't scare me like that. It must be you, Tai Zhao said weakly. And bro, I'm a coward. Please don't scare me like that. How am I supposed to scare Meng Yao if you scare me like that? Yushu was sure that this was Tai Zhao now, but she didn't expect him to be this cowardly. And from what Tai Zhao was saying, this guy was going to scare Yao Yao. No wonder he was wearing a raincoat with the hood on his head and rubber gloves on his hands. He was going to pretend to be a ghost. Weren't you pretending to be a ghost? Fine. I'll pretend to be a ghost to scare you. Yushu didn't say anything, only reaching out to pat Tai Zhao's shoulder again before sticking her tongue out. And bro, what are you doing? Why aren't you saying anything? Tai Zhao turned around carefully, but his hair stood on end when he saw who it was. A ghost in white, with a pale face, was standing behind him with her tongue out. Yushu had a white mask on her face, and she was wearing a white nightgown with her tongue sticking out. Wasn't this exactly the same as the female ghosts in the legends? Especially under the moonlight. He couldn't see clearly at all. Tai Zhao was worried that he'd run into something unclean along the way, and now that he saw Yushu like this, he couldn't help but piss his pants. Ah, ghost! There's a ghost! Tai Zhao screamed and started running. Chapter 1151. Ghosts are everywhere. Meng Yao and Tang Yun saw that Yushu had been gone for a long time, and there was still no news. They were worried and worried. Although there shouldn't be any danger on the beach, what if there was an accident in the middle of the night? Although Miss Yushu scolded Shu sometimes, she still cared about her. Yun, why isn't Shu back yet? Meng Yao asked worriedly. Yeah, don't let anything happen to him. Tang Yun was also a little worried. Although she treated Meng Yao and Yushu as love rivals, they were also good friends. That was a completely different matter. If he wanted something bad to happen to them, he wouldn't have called Lin Yi to save Meng Yao. I'll go take a look, Meng Yao said, after some hesitation. I'll go with you? Tang Yin also sat up. It's fine. I'll go alone. What if Shu and I get lost and she comes back first? She'll worry about us if she sees no one in the tent. Meng Yao waved her hand. That's right. I'll wait here then. You be careful. Tang Yun felt that Meng Yao's words made sense and nodded. Meng Yao pushed the tent open and walked out. She'd only taken a few steps when she saw a black figure running towards her. As he ran, he shouted, "Ghost, there's a ghost!" "I'm so scared." Meng Yao, on the other hand, was shocked. Meng Yao cried out subconsciously as well. Tai Zhao didn't even dare to look back as he ran as fast as he could. How unlucky was he? He went out to pretend to be a ghost, only to run into a real one. This was bad. Was his behavior suspected of vilifying and disguising himself as a ghost? Was he discovered by the ghost, so he vented his anger on him? Tai Zhao was panting heavily as he ran, afraid that the ghost would eat him. But as he ran, he didn't run far before he heard a horrifying scream coming from not far in front of him. Tai Zhao raised his head, subconsciously to see that the white-faced, white-robed ghost who'd been behind him a moment ago was right in front of him, blocking his way. Oh my God! Tai Zhao was scared, out of his wits. How could this ghost move so fast? Before he could even see what was going on, she had already teleported in front of him. But then again, it was normal for a ghost to be able to drift. Of course, it was faster than him. Evidently, Tai Zhao thought that Meng Yao was the same Yushu from before. But under the moonlight, it was hard to tell who was who in the white pajamas and the white face mask. Yushu wasn't as tall as Meng Yao, but Tai Zhao didn't have time to notice these details. He assumed that Meng Yao was the ghost from before, and his heart was filled with fear. He panicked and didn't know where he was going. There was a tent not far from him. It was Meng Yao, Yushu, and Tang Yun's tent. Tai Zhao was energized, his body brimming with energy. He couldn't care less about scaring Meng Yao anymore. The only thing on his mind right now was to run into Meng Yao's tent as soon as possible. He was a man, and he didn't care about being laughed at anymore. He'd rather hide behind the 3 girls. Meng Yao was stunned by Tai Zhao's actions as well. However, she was also quite scared. A dark person suddenly appeared in the middle of the night. She didn't know what he was up to. Anyone would be scared. But Meng Yao could tell from the voice that this person was Tai Zhao. Meng Yao wasn't scared anymore. What was there to be scared of? But the words he was saying were a little weird. Ghost? Was there a ghost? Tai Zhao was calling for a ghost. Something like that. Meng Yao subconsciously looked behind Tai Zhao, which was in front of her. Where was the ghost? Only little Shu was happily waving at him from afar. Yushu was laughing as she ran towards Meng Yao. She was laughing so hard that she couldn't even walk properly. Shu, what kind of trick are you playing? What's going on with Tai Zhao? Meng Yao didn't know why Tai Zhao was running around like a madman, but her instincts told her that it had to be Shu's doing. Especially from Shu's expression, it was obvious that she was the one who did it. Why else was she laughing? Hee. Yao Yao, do I look like a ghost to you? With that, Yushu stuck out her tongue. Oh, I'm a ghost. Dash. Meng Yao couldn't help but start laughing as well. She finally understood why Tai Zhao was running away. It was because Yushu scared him. She couldn't help but say, I was wondering why he was even more afraid after seeing me. It turns out that he also thought I was a female ghost. Ha. Yeah, Yao, we're really good sisters. You're so cooperative. Yushu nodded with a smile. Tai Zhao probably thought that I could teleport, so I floated right in front of him. Where's Tai Zhao? I think he ran into our tent. Meng Yao was startled and quickly said, He won't scare Yinyin, will he? Oh, he ran into the tent? Then we'll have a good show. I wonder if Tang Yin sis can cooperate? Yushu's eyes lit up. Cooperate? Meng Yao blinked. Yeah, we can check it out right now. Let's see if Tang Yin sis can be sisters with us in the future and play together. Yushu nodded with a serious face. Meng Yao could sense something in Yushu's words. Shu was referring to sisters, but there was another layer of meaning behind it. Meng Yao coughed. Shu, don't talk nonsense. Let's go check it out. Don't scare Tang Yin. Taizao finally ran into Mengyao's tent, thinking that he was finally home, safe. Then he heaved a sigh of relief and cried, "Well, I'm home." Taizao's sudden visit gave Tang Yin a big fright. If Taizao hadn't said anything, Tang Yin wouldn't have known that he was Taizao. The light in the tent was dimmer than outside, and Tang Yin didn't understand why Taizao would suddenly come to her tent. But where were Mengyao and Yushu? Tang Yin stared at Taizao, confused. Taizao took a deep breath and raised his head, about to say something when he saw Tang Yin standing not too far from him. He froze on the spot. Chapter 1152. Chapter 1150. Unintentional coordination. Could it be that this was the legendary ghost hitting the wall? This tent was made up by the ghost, and it wasn't Mengyao's tent at all. He had been under the ghost's control the whole time, and he never escaped. Taizao paled at the thought, turning around and stumbling out of the tent in fear. He yelled as he ran towards Jiang Wen's tent. He was really scared out of his wits. Poor Taizao. He had a problem with wetting his bed. And now he was pissing his pants again. Ghost. There's a ghost. Taizao waved his hands as he ran. Ha 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 ha. Yushu couldn't help but laugh as she watched Taizao run out of the tent. Looks like Yun Yun sis is quite cooperative. Taizao's probably scared to death, right? Yao Yao, you and Tang Yun sis are really cooperative. Mengyao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Xiao Xiao had always been the one messing with Yushu, but this time she and Tang Yun had unintentionally coordinated with Shu and messed with Taizao. All right, let's go check on Tang Yun. Mengyao shook her head helplessly as she walked towards the tent. But at this time, Tang Yun was confused by Taizao's actions as well. Taizao ran out of the tent, and she followed him out. Taizao didn't see them, but he saw Yao Yao and Shu walking back. Yao Yao, Shu, you're back. Tang Yun let out a breath of relief. I think Taizao came just now. Did you guys see him? Why is he acting all weird? Did he see a ghost? Tang Yun's confusion made Yushu laugh out loud. Ha ha. Tang Yun sis, don't we look like ghosts? Yushu asked with a smile. Tang Yin paused before looking at Mengyao and Yushu's attire, then back at herself. Shu, you're saying that Taizao wouldn't think that we're ghosts, would he? Yeah, that seems to be the case. Yushu nodded. Oh my God. Tang Yin slapped her forehead. Why is he so dumb? Hee, I don't know, but thank you for cooperating with me, Yushu said. Tang Yin couldn't help but feel a bit helpless. She wasn't the type of girl who liked to mess around, unlike Yushu who messed with people all day long. It wasn't her hobby either, but today she unknowingly helped Yushu. However, Tang Yin didn't think that it was inappropriate. After all, it was a good thing to deepen their relationship. Tang Yin used to be very cautious, so she didn't have many friends. She only had Lu Xinwen and Xiaofan. This was similar to Miss. As a result, Tang Yin was getting along well with Chen Mengyan and Yushu. She hoped that they could continue being friends. It was a rare relationship, and as they grew older and entered society, it would be hard for them to have such a pure friendship without benefits. At this moment, Jiang Wen couldn't sit still anymore and ran out of his tent. He was waiting for Taizao to act like a ghost and scare Mengyao so that he could go save the damsel in distress. His plan was very clever. Yi and Xiao Xiao were messing around. How would he have time to care about Mengyao and the others? This was the time for him to be a man. He'd spend the night with Mengyao, and even if nothing happened, their relationship would improve. But Taizao suddenly started yelling something like a ghost the moment he got out. Jiang Wen was quite troubled. Who would pretend to be a ghost like that? Why would a ghost yell something like that? Who would be afraid of you when you're like that? And so Jiang Wen got angrier the more he thought about it. He turned around and ran towards Mengyao's tent. He couldn't stop complaining in his heart. This Taizao really couldn't do anything right. Why was he pretending to be a ghost? It was all gone now. But he didn't get far before he saw Tai Zhao charging at him with extreme speed, pouncing on him before he could react. And bro, you scared me. There's a ghost. There's a ghost that can teleport. Tai Zhao didn't want to let go of Jiang Wen, as if he had found his savior. He didn't want to let go at all. What are you doing? You're hugging me to death. Jiang Wen raged, wanting to push Tai Zhao off of him. Meng Yao, Yu Shu, and Tang Yun heard the commotion and rushed over as well, wanting to see what was going on. On the other side, Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao were alerted by the commotion as well. The two came out of their tents and ran over. And bro, you scared me. There's a ghost here. Let's go. Tai Zhao cried. Ghost? Where's the ghost? Didn't I tell you to go pretend to be a ghost? Why aren't you pretending to be a ghost? What are you doing here? Jiang Wen roared furiously. I wanted to go pretend to be a ghost, but maybe my actions angered a real ghost, and I met a real one on the way. This ghost was really scary. Her face was white, and she was wearing a white robe, and she just stuck her tongue out and whimpered. Tai Zhao said, that ghost knew how to teleport, and she was behind me at first, but when I ran a few steps forward, she was in front of me again. She's really strong. She knows how to teleport. I didn't even see what was going on, and she was in front of me all of a sudden. What the hell are you talking about? What ghost? Jiang Wen raged at Tai Zhao's nonsensical words. There really is. And bro, you don't know this, but I was thinking that this ghost was too strong, so I decided to hide in Meng Yao's tent. Even if people laughed at me, it didn't matter. So I ran to Meng Yao's tent, but guess what happened? And bro, I ran into a ghost wall again. Tai Zhao said, panicking. There was a ghost in Meng Yao's tent, and she ran into the tent again. When I entered the tent, I clearly remembered that the female ghost was outside the tent. But when I entered the tent, the female ghost was actually inside. Do you think that all of this was an illusion of the female ghost? It's too scary. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.